What's good, everybody? What's good? It's Big Game James, and we finally got it. We finally got it together, but it's only because of my dog KMT, because he's a technical guy, and he's like, "Do this, do that," and I'm like, "Okay," but we figured it out. And my guy is here, Mr. Brandon Tucker, Mr. QB Hunter himself, is in the building. I didn't think we was gonna get you on here on 2023. We done had you every year on here for like the last 4 years, just racking up all the players, putting them in the NFL. You know how you do it. So how you been doing, dog?
Man, it's a blessing to be on this side of the turf, man. Just trying to stay busy.
Definitely. So, I mean, we're gonna jump right into this because I know you ain't got a lot of time. I know you're a busy guy, all that good stuff. But first, let's talk about, every year, you train college kids to get ready to go to the NFL draft. You put a lot of guys, helped a lot of guys get into the league. Talk about this past year's class and who you really train, and just off the top of your head, who you really trained to hit the league this year.
So from a pre-draft perspective, I had Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson, Isaiah Foskey. I had Big Hapu from Baylor. I had the entire LSU defensive line: Ali Gay, BJ Olalari, and Big Q Roy. Zach Pickens, Kalaja Cansey. I think I had like 20. I think I had 23 guys total, and 17 made rosters or got drafted, something like that. It's been a while. I hadn't looked at the list in a while.
Yeah, for real. Now you already see my dog Law Nation. What's up to you, dog? How you doing? He says, I need Mazi to hit him up for real. Now, I know you had did you get a chance to even mess with Mazi, talk with Mazi, any of that?
Not at all.
Yeah, they need to send him to you, dog.
Yeah, I'll see him in person next week at some point.
Okay. Well, great. Because we need the QB Hunter. We need you all on him. Not saying he's doing bad at all, but I just know that you would do the finer points. You would refine him and get him to where he would need to be, because the ability is there, the strength is there, the size is there, but I think the little technical side is not there right now, and I think that's what he's kind of struggling with, and I think offensive linemen and offensive game plans are trying to manipulate that because maybe he's not really catching on to that. But let me ask you about that, since we're talking about that. You've seen him, and you've heard probably the little bit of criticism probably that he had in the Seattle game. I don't know if you watched those games that he's played, but
I haven't.
Did you even get to see anything about Mazi, or do you know anything about him?
Man, the only thing I know about the big fella is that he was at the University of Michigan, and he was a first round guy. I have not been able to see any of my Cowboy guys in preseason as far as playing in games. I've been moving around this year, and so obviously I had a couple of guys that I had a deep vested interest in. Obviously Neville Gallimore, and then Isaac Alacone, with him making the switch. Chauncey Golston and Big Osa are with me all the time, and so outside of a phone call and going over some stuff on FaceTime, I haven't seen anything. I hadn't seen any Cowboy preseason games.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about those four guys you just talked about, because all of those guys are on the roster except Isaac.
Right.
But let's talk about, and I want to talk about one person in particular, because I know these are your guys, so you can really only give me positives. But I want you to get, I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
It. But what I want you to tell me, or, did you make the change? Because a lot of people were talking about Neville Gallimore not making this roster for the last couple of years. And this year in particular, a lot of people were saying he wasn't going to make the roster, right? I had him off the roster. I'm not going to lie. I heard just a lot of the noise and hearing the hearsay. You've had him for a while. Talk to us about Neville Gallimore, because he made the roster and it looks like he's going to have some kind of impact. He looked a little bit different. And here's the thing, B, we seen him like 2021, and we were excited because he came in like gangbusters off after that elbow injury. You feel me? But then people were talking like in 2022 he regressed. So, tell us about Neville Gallimore and what's he going to bring, and what did you really do in his training to really maybe step his game up to get on the roster when everybody had him off?
So let's start there with him making the roster. Being a professional football player is mental and physical, and it's more mental. And so Neville had to find his chi, and he had to figure out what worked best for him in the off season as far as preparing to go in a camp. And so, he worked closely with myself, but he also worked with a gentleman here in Dallas by the name of Chad Marr, who I have worked closely with for the last 6 years with getting guys getting their bodies ready. And so, Chad is phenomenal. We actually call him the Wizard. Guys like Leighton Vander Esch, go see him. He's the guy that put Osa Smith back together after he sat on the couch for 5 years. And so Neville was with Chad, and then he was with me for skill. And, he went into camp lighter. I think we reported like 305 maybe versus last year we were like 330 going in. And he just, like I said, he found his chi. He understands what it takes to be a professional. All right. And sometimes that happens for guys their senior year of college. And then sometimes it happens for guys when, they were in the position that Neville was in going into camp. He knew that he had one foot in the grave, another foot on the banana peel, man. Like, he knew he had to go in there and shut it down, and he did, man. And we're healthy, and I'm super excited for him.
I noticed that he is lighter. You can tell he's lighter on his feet. So, what do you think? Obviously, I don't know if you ever talked to Quinn or anything like that, but what do you think is his position is really going to be, and what do you think his best position is along the line?
I actually talked to Coach Quinn a couple times, and they're really excited about Neville. He's versatile enough to play the 1 and the 3. I think he can be effective at either one, and I think they're gonna use him that way, playing the 1 and the 3.
All right, now let's talk about who do I want to talk about? I heard some people, Coach Marv asked me about Osa. Talk to us about Osa, because Osa looked like he got bigger. You feel me? It looked like he got bigger, and I think we all love Osa. Let's keep it real. I think all the Cowboys fans, we all love Osa because he can play multiple positions. He's a guy that goes hard, and it looks like you guys have a real close relationship. When I see the pictures and things of that nature, it looks like you and Osa have a real close relationship. So
you froze up a little bit, but what I heard you say, you think that we have a good relationship, and what do I expect from him this year? Is that what?
You've been with him for a little bit. Now he's coming into this season. He looks bigger. What's kind of your expectations, and what kind of you envision him, and what kind of stuff do you kind of work with those guys? Obviously, we showed a little bit of the videos, but what kind of things do you do to kind of get these guys right?
So, with everyone that I work with, the overriding priority is to continue to advance and sharpen what those guys do naturally. And so, with Osa, like with anybody else, we're always going to work on the basics. We're going to make sure that we're playing with a low pad level. Make sure that we're understanding our visual keys. Make sure that we're being able to translate our visual keys and what we want to do as an individual player to make sure it fits the team scheme. And so with Osa, he's got great mobility. His bend is phenomenal, and obviously that comes from a tremendous wrestling background. He uses his hands well. He's extremely strong. He has really, really long arms. And so, with him, pass rush starts and stops with your feet. And so it's making sure that we're attacking with our feet at all times with Osa. And so he did a really, really good job in the spring and the summer. He's lean. Again, he went to see Chad Marr as well. Osa has a six-pack, right? So whenever you have a guy that goes between 285 pounds and 295, and he's got a six-pack, he's in tremendous shape. And so he does have the appearance of being bigger. He's really focused on defending the run first, and then being able to transition that into an interior pass rush, man. So he's locked in, dialed in, man, and I expect for him to have a really, really good year this year.
Nice. Now, you were talking about a few things. You're talking about his wrestling background. So let me ask you, when you're talking about, because he can play the three, he can play what's his best? What positions are his best positions? And I heard something you talk about. You were make sure his feet were good. Now, when you said that, I wonder if that's what Mazi's problem is when you're talking about get off, because they've been talking about his get off has been an issue. He doesn't have a sense of urgency, or it takes a little bit. It's nothing special. Kind of, does the footwork have something to do with that? And maybe kind of break that down for the people who may not understand that.
Yeah, everything we do as football players starts with your feet. You hear a lot of people say cliche-ish things like beat the hands, beat the man. That's donkeyism, right? That phrase is as ridiculous as a phrase as anyone could possibly put out there, because everyone that plays football is just run by an offensive line, right? Didn't work a move. And so with Mazi, again, I haven't seen him and give him any type of evaluation, but I can say if he's having issues with his get off, it's going to be more related to his visual keys and his reaction time. Is he looking at the right things? Okay. When we're talking about get off, it's reactionary, and you can train that. You see a lot of guys doing get offs where they're in resistance bands. That's not going to help your reaction time. Okay, your reaction time is all visual. And so what are his visual keys when it's time to get off the ball? And so I teach guys to watch both the ball and the man. And the reason why we do that is, the guards and the tackles are not waiting on the center to snap the football. They know what the snap count is. And so when they move, we move, right? And so, and you can see, not this year's Super Bowl before, shoot, man, the entire Rams line was in their set. And Cincy's D-line was still in their stance because the center delayed just that much of snapping the football. And so when they move, we move. And so again, I haven't seen the big fella. Like, I'll be at practice next week. I'll be able to look at him. And then I can give you a better evaluation of what I think is going on, if there's something going on.
Now let's talk about Chauncey Golston, because you've had Golston since, I think you told me, since he was young, like since he was like high school, grade school. You've had.
No, I got him when he was in college.
Okay, when you got him, he was at Iowa. But you've had a relationship with him for a while, and you really took him under your wing. Now, Chauncey Golston, I've said this about Golston, like he's the glue of the team. Like he's the lunch pail guy. Like, you don't hear about Golston. Nobody really talks about him, but he's always doing his job. He's always there for whatever you need him. He can play inside. He can play outside. He can play multiple positions. He's strong. He had a really breakout game against the Washington Commanders. I think he had like 11 tackles. And Neville Gallimore and Bohanna, they were inactive because of the way he played, and he went into the playoffs playing. But talk about Golston for us right quick. And what's your thoughts with Golston coming into this season? We're having high expectations for Osa. We're having high expectations. I know you had Sam Williams as well. We're going to talk about him. And Gallimore coming on strong. We're hoping that in our heads that you said he found his cheat. We hope he found his cheat, because if he has, it's only going to help the Dallas Cowboys, right? If he's found his cheat for real. You feel me? So we hope he's found his cheat like you said it. But let's talk about Chauncey Golston, Ghostface Killer, I call him. Talk about him right quick and what he's really going to add to this team again this year.
Yeah, so I call him Ghost. I call him Ghost too. He's the Swiss Army knife, man. Mr. Versatility. He can play every position on the line. He's a little bit heavier this year. I think he really anticipates playing inside. He can pass rush. He can defend the run. He defends the run with pride. The Cowboys are excited about Chauncey because of his versatility. And so you can expect to see him on certain packages all over the line. You can expect a really good year. He's a guy that's always going to stair step. Like, so if he played at an 8 last year, just organically he's going to play at a 9 this year. You know what I mean? As far as continue to get better. And so yeah, he's good. Chauncey's going to play really, really well this year, no matter where they.
What do you think his best spot is when he plays?
Man, a 4 or a 4-eye.
And why? Lined
up head. Well, because that's what he did in college. That's what he did in college, and so he's still, he played, 5 years doing one thing, and so it's gonna take him 5 years doing something else before that muscle memory, those instincts, that comfortability starts to fade. And so he was a 4 and a 4-eye. He is extremely comfortable playing a 4 and a 4-eye. And so because of that, that's why he's so versatile. He can bump down and play a 3 because he was so good at a 4 and a 4-eye. He can also bump outside to a 5 and play well because he was, it's basically guys being used to having somebody on both shoulders or just having one guy on one shoulder. And he's comfortable in either scenario.
Yeah, like I said, Golston is the utility man. You need those type of guys that you don't hear about, but they do everything for you. Now, I got a little $4.99 chat. Shout out to Sean J for the chat. He says, Tyus, we can step in for Sam Williams and take his job. Now, you had Sam Williams. He said Tyrus Week could step in and take Sam Williams' job.
So I had Tyrus for pre-draft. I had Tyrus for pre-draft. He's more of a linebacker. Right, he's more of a linebacker. He's going to be classified as an edge. Didn't he get released?
He made it. He got released. He got released, but he's on the practice squad.
Yeah. So, listen, man. Nothing. I'm not going to take anything away from Wheat, man, because he can go. Sam is a different type of animal, man. Sam is a different type of animal, man. All he needs is opportunity.
Well, he's got the opportunity, but I mean, you've been around him. You saw some of what just really happened. He got the,
Yep.
With him. I mean, what do you think? Does it need to mature a little bit?
So is life, man. No, man, so is life, right? I mean, I'm always defend
I know
my
you
guys,
are.
Man.
I know you are.
And, whether we like it or not, we're going to be held to a higher standard. And so I'm just thankful that I didn't grow up in a time where you couldn't walk across somebody's lawn and it be reported. Okay. And so, young guys are going to make mistakes, and he obviously made a bad decision. And because of the position that he's in, it's going to be spotlighted. But as far as football goes, That kid is special. That's why the Cowboys took him in the second
now.
round.
I think if we're looking at the starting lineup, I mean, in my opinion, he should be starting. I mean, I know they got Dorrance Armstrong Jr., but you just said it. I mean, we all see it and we all know. Everybody in Cowboys land has been talking about Sam Williams this year. Like, and this is what I said personally, that, you know, a lot of people talking 10 sacks, but I don't think it's just the sacks, but I just think his impact of what he can bring to the table, because he's just different. Like you said, he's just different. So if he hits that level that we think, and you know, because you've been around it, I mean, this defense can go from, it's already here, it's trending already up. It could be a devastating defense. I think the key to this defense is Sam Williams. I know Micah Parsons, I know all the other people, but if Sam Williams has that kind of year, I think it changes this whole thing of defense right here.
Yeah, man, Sam is.
Why is he so different in your opinion from other players you've been around?
Man, big, fast, strong, athletic, relentless. You know, he is. You know, you can just feel it, man. Like when you got a guy that isn't normal, you can feel it, you can see it, you can hear it, right? It's an aura, and Sam just needs to get the opportunity. You know, at the end of the day, man, young professionals, he's not accustomed to being played in spurts. Right, I mean, and that's the biggest transition for young guys, is to be able to just flip that switch when your number is called and go out there and get into your zone. You know, sometimes it takes, you know, a series or two for a guy to get it figured out. And so when you're a rotational guy, that series or two, by the time you're comfortable in what you're trying to do and your pass rush plan, and you've kind of done some real life intel on a guy, shoot, man, the game is over. The game is over. And so, you know, some people will say, man, well, that's what film is for. Yeah. Let me tell you something. When you're looking at film, you're looking at an offensive lineman that is prepared to play the guy that he's going against that week. You're going to see some different things from him when he prepares specifically against you. And so that real time intel, man, is super, super important to be able to feel a guy out. And for young guys, that's their biggest hurdle they deal with. And that's what I think Sam dealt with a lot last year, man. So I look for him, man, to be able to get in there, man, and get some solid reps. And have a really good year, man. I'm excited.
I think we're all excited for him. I would just really love for him to get that starting role, because I feel like you said, opportunity. He's not used to being a guy that's just coming in hot, cold, you know, not playing the whole game. And I agree with you with the opportunity. I feel like if you just came and let him start and just let him figure it out and just let him play, I think that's when you'll start to see that natural ability. I think that's when you'll start to see that animalistic. I mean, just that behavior, like where he's going hard, like you said, relentless behavior. I think he really needs that starting position to really just let him go ham, because him starting would really be like, everybody don't, but I feel like he needs to start because he's that type of player that he gets better when he just continues to play all game.
So who do you displace? Who do you start him over?
I mean, I'm starting him over Dorrance Armstrong Jr. if they're starting Dorrance Armstrong Jr. I'm sorry, I am. Because I don't think Dorrance Armstrong Jr. can set the edge like Sam Williams can.
Yeah, and so now, you know, football is a game of trust. And so sometimes a coach is going to give up. He's going to give up some dynamic talent for a guy that he trusts.
Yeah, and that's where we're at.
That's where we're at. And so, you're talking about a young guy, man, that was bought in for the future. He wasn't expected to come in and play right away. Not to start, even at a second rounder. They're looking at him 2-3 years down the line. This is year 2. Right? You still got a guy that's a perennial All-Pro. Right? You have probably the most dominant defensive dude in the league in 11. Right? So I mean, he wasn't expected to come in and play, and they're just hedging the future when they bring Sam in. So now that's difficult for him because he wants to play.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now he sang the same song every training session. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to play. Right? And so and he is, and so it's crazy, man, how some things happen. He's got a cloud over him right now. But every cloud has the silver lining, man. And this is a gladiator sport. And we all know the crowd is fickle, man. Everybody got nothing but negative things to say right now about the big fella. Let him go out there and get him a couple of sacks and see how
I already know. I already know. So that's why I ain't tripping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not tripping at all because I know, like I said, Sam is the key to me in the defense. I've been saying it for months that he's the key. I know we got Micah, and we already know what he does, and we already know, and we know about the other parts of the team. But I just feel like in my heart, if he can come in and really get significant snaps, obviously, I hope that this situation didn't hurt him with DQ as far as the trust, like you said, because I think there is a trust factor with that, maybe. Hopefully that doesn't hold him back from being able to get on the field and get on the field a lot, because this team needs him to play and needs him to play a lot, in my opinion. Sam Williams is one player on the defense that needs to get a lot of snaps, in my opinion, for this team. This team is already going to be very good defensively, but Sam Williams, I keep saying it, is the key, because that you just said it. He has the relentless style, and he has all the ability to go with it. It's different when people are relentless and they don't have the ability to go with it. He's relentless and has the ability to go with it. And when you already got a dog and Micah Parsons like that, it just makes it better. I'm hurt that Overshown is not with there to be able to turn up too.
Yeah, and I got to see him play a lot in college. I was really looking forward to see what he did this year, kind of being the second coming of Micah. I hate that he got injured. I do. I was really excited to see what he did this year. But yeah, man, Sam's time is coming, and teams do things strategically, like drafting a guy as high as they did and him not really playing right away. I mean, take Tyree Wilson. Hey, man, he got drafted to the Raiders in the first round. Chandler Jones, and we all know who's on the other side of Chandler. Okay. And so, what's the likelihood that Tyree's gonna have a significant playing time? You got Max Crosby on one side, Chandler Jones on the other side. All right, but they're looking at Chandler saying, okay, man, this dude getting along in the two. And so we want to be able to bring this guy in. He's great value. We know he can play, but we're not going to put a bunch of pressure on him to play right away. And I think that's the same mindset that went into bringing Sam in like they did.
You know what else I think also with Sam? I think that maybe they wanted to take him a little bit later, but because of that combine he had, he was going to get taken quickly. And I feel like that's why they drafted him in the second round. I feel like they would have waited and to take him a little bit later, but the way he tore up that combine and when he ran that 4.5 at that size, you know how the NFL is. They're enamored with that. He was not going to last, so they had to go ahead and get him now.
He was.
You feel me?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, but football. Everybody in football is one play away, man. You'll never know what's going to happen. Once Sam gets his chance to be on the field consistently, man, you're gonna see why the Cowboys drafted him in the second round.
Well, like I said, I already know what he's going to bring to the table. I just hope that he continues to mature.
Yeah.
Like you said, this continues to mature. He's young. We understand that. But you still got to be able to mature.
Yep.
You play for the Dallas Cowboys. You're a lightning rod. Any little thing you do, everybody's going to talk about it. Everybody's going to have something to say. It's not like it's going to be with if you was with the Cardinals or the
Right.
or the Carolina Panthers. It ain't going to be like that. You do something here, they's gonna go ham. So all I'm saying is, Sam, we want you to be great, but don't get in your own way. That's all I'm saying. Don't get in your own way of being great. That's all I'm saying. Because you could be a great player, especially here in Dallas. You could be the next bookend, and we're all looking because we already know he has the ability. And then, like I said, the core that you've been training, dog. We getting ready to get off here because I know you got to get off here, but the core that you
I'm good, man.
Well, I mean, you told me. You know what I'm saying?
I got a flight. I got a 7:00 flight in the morning. You know, my kid plays for Texas Tech.
Right.
So I'm headed to Wyoming in the morning.
That's who they play?
Yeah.
Talk about and now he been turning up a little bit. Talk about him right quick.
My baby?
Yeah.
My youngest? Yeah. So, he was a freshman All-American last year. So he's on the Biletnikoff watch list this year, man.
Let everybody know his name.
Really, Jerron Bradley, number 9 for Texas Tech. So we're just prayerful for a healthy season, man. Continue to build on what we've been doing since we started playing this game. So super, super, super excited for him. Like I said, Mama and I are headed out in the morning to watch him play.
Nice. That's got to be exciting. You feel me? That's got to be exciting. Now I want to ask you a couple questions since you're the QB hunter, you're the D-line guy. I mean, what makes it good to great? I mean, I'm not even talking about Mazi, but I'm talking about what makes a really good defensive tackle. So when we look at a defensive tackle, when they drafted somebody in the first round, you're drafted in the first round as a DT, and let's say we're talking about his position. So he's playing either a 0, he's playing the 1. They're sliding him out as the 3. But what makes a good to great defensive tackle?
How much time you got?
I got time. I need to know. We need to know. If anybody wants to be some football junkies, it's Friday. Let's talk. I need to know.
Yeah. So
only football junkies here.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of variables in there. For me, when I evaluate a guy, I look for 2 things immediately: ankle mobility and hip mobility. Okay. Ankle mobility and hip mobility. And then from there, is he a waist bender or a knee bender? Okay. After that, I want to know what's between his ears. I want to know what his football IQ is. Okay. And, guys are being really groomed for the NFL at the collegiate level now. They're really preparing guys to play. So I need to know what his football IQ is, and then most importantly for me, I need to know what his AQ is, and AQ is adversity quotient, right? How much adversity is he going to deal with before he breaks, right? Is he a guy that if he gets knocked down 5 times, he's going to get up 5? Or if he gets knocked down 5 times, he's going to get up 4 and then tuck it in at 5. And so after that, there's strengths, speed, quickness, short area quickness, change of direction. All those things play into a good defensive lineman, and a lot of guys in the NFL possess those traits. The separating factor in a good defensive lineman or a great defensive lineman is them really understanding who they are as a player. If you're a bull, be a bull. If you're a butterfly, be a butterfly, right? A really good defensive lineman, especially an interior guy, is gonna have an identity of stopping the run with pride, and then he's gonna have 1 or 2 pass rush moves, right? And they're going to perfect those. So it makes, you hear guys say, man, I got a bag. Well, listen, man, this thing is really simple. We overcomplicate it. If you have a move that can't be stopped, why would you do something else? Why do 10 different things versus doing one thing really, really darn good? All right. I mean, if you look back at the legends of the position, Warren Sapp, Stab Club Rip, right? Stab Club Rip, along with great athleticism. Look at Reggie, who in today's game be a 3 technique. Hey, man, rhinoceros strong. He's humping guys. He beat guys with pure strength and power. I never saw Reggie White work a finesse pass rush move. Everything was predicated on power because he knew who he was as a player. Okay, and so that's the difference between guys that are going to be in the league and potentially be journeyman versus a guy that gets in there, understand who he is as a player, and continues to build on that and not get distracted by the noise or the hype. Right? I mean, so I think all those things in combination, make for great defensive line. And then you got some guys that are just kissed by the football guys that can just get out there and do it, and it doesn't matter what they do; they can do no wrong. But yeah, the hips and ankles, man. That's where it starts.
Hips and ankles.
Yep.
And why
ankles?
And why do you say the ankles?
So you hear guys talk about they want to see what type of bend a guy has, right? Mm-hmm. That goes to mobility. And so if you have great ankle mobility, meaning that your ankle can bend, you can get on the outside of your foot, supinate, pronate, go forward, back. It increases your ability to work in the run, how much weight you can put on your inside leg versus your outside leg, what your change of direction is. When you see guys running hoops, you want them to have hip and shoulder in the hoop, no matter how small or big the hoop is. And so great ankle mobility. We're talking about the guys that have tree trunks as thighs, and then you look down and they've got pretty long feet with these little small ankles. Hey man, those are exterior traits of great ankle mobility, unless there's an injury. Now, once you get hurt, and man, things will stiffen up. But yeah, man, great ankle mobility, man. That's everything's predicated on that, man. When guys have to go forward, lean, change direction, turn, run, weight distribution, all that stuff is going to be dependent on your ankle mobility. All right, you hear guys say a player has tight hips. Well, in layman's terms, that's somebody that's rigid and smooth, rigid versus smooth. So rigid is like a robot. He's very robotic and rigid in his movements, mm-hmm. versus a guy with loose hips, mm-hmm. that's fluid and smooth. He can turn, he can reduce. I mean, he has mobility in his hips, and so if you have tight ankles, you're gonna have tight hips. All right, just everything goes from the ground up. So that's what we look for, man. That's what I look for. That's just me. That in my experience, that's what I look for.
Now,
that's what we want to build. Now, we can increase that.
Now, I want to ask this question for my guy, Coach Marvin. I'm gonna ask you a question. He says, "How important is coaches' evaluation on young DT's skill set to make them successful?"
That's everything. You've got to be able to project that he can play and do the things that you need him to do within your scheme. And so the evaluation piece is key. I mean, you've got to know what it takes to play within your system, what you want from your guys, and you have to make sure that that young defensive tackle possesses those traits and those characteristics. Right? And so now the evaluation piece there is key. And we miss. We miss, man. We miss sometimes. And we hit home sometimes too. So no, the evaluation process is everything.
So when you're talking about a guy being stiff, does that, I mean, so if you say a guy's got stiff hips and let's say he's playing inside, is he basically not going to be successful in the NFL?
No, he can still find success. Just depends on who he is and how they play.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know who Calais Campbell is,
yes.
Right? How fluid is Calais? He's not very, man. But he's overcome that with size and strength, right?
Well, like you
and
said,
experience.
you like you say, go back to what you said. He knows what he was, and he was great at it. He honed in on what he was good at, and was great at it.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So no, a guy can still be wildly successful, and you know, it depends on who he is as a player and what they're asking of him. And you know, the NFL, man, it's could you imagine being the best player in college, right? And then going to your top 10 pick, going to the bottom half of the NFL, right? Because the number one guy is going to the worst team. They have the first pick for a reason versus going in the second round or the third round to a really good football team. A football team that's understanding what they want and who they are, what they want from guys. And I know, listen, this is going to be a very, very unpopular thing I'm getting ready to say. People are going to get very, very upset with me when I say this, but the Philadelphia Eagles got it figured out up front. They had 7-8 guys with double-digit sacks. I mean, they got it figured out, man. And it's something that, you know, a young, talented guy goes to a horrible team, right? So he might not be in the best situation for him. And so that's going to have a lot to do with how successful someone is where they go and who they play for. Yeah. I mean, shoot up. Golly, man. The darn Philadelphia Eagles, man, and I'm not an Eagles fan. But my goodness, their defensive front was something to behold until it wasn't, right? So,
I mean, they got a couple guys this year too.
Tell me how that keeps happening.
I don't know.
They got it figured out. They're rolling up front right now like nobody else in the league.
Well, it all starts up front in the trenches, right? That's where it starts. Because if you don't have good trench work, you ain't winning games, right? And I don't like it. If we're being honest and let's talk about it, like, I don't want people to get butthurt in here because we're talking about the Eagles. Don't get butthurt about it.
Right.
But I mean, that defensive line, I don't like it. If we're talking from a Cowboys fan perspective, I don't like what they did because they got some dogs over there. I mean, it's the truth. I mean, you'd be a hater to say it isn't. That's going to be competition, and that's why our offensive line has got to be super on point because it's going to be dealing with. I mean, let's be honest. If I look at the Cowboys through the years, right, the defenses that we've played. When Dallas has played the Giants, our problems were the edge guys. Osa Odighizuwa, Strahan, Tuck. We always have problems with those edge guys, right? Dallas did. Mm-hmm. With the Eagles, to me, it's always been the interior. We've always had problems with the Eagles in the interior all through history. I've watched the Cowboys, and they've always had stout guys in the middle. That's what they've always done. The Eagles have always built on the middle, inside out. That's where they've always built. And it's always been tough to run on them because they don't want you to run on them because that's where they thought. And if you look at their thought pattern now, it's still the same way of how they're trying to do it. It's just the truth.
Yep. And you hit the man. Let me tell you something. You talk about football junkie. You hit the nail right on the head. Last year, I had five clients that play for the Eagles. Okay, and just in case you didn't know this, the tight-knit unit that the Eagles were last year among the defensive line, the Cowboys had the exact same thing in their room. That brotherhood, they had the exact same thing in the room. The difference is they didn't have the depth that the Eagles had. That's it. I mean, that outside of that, man, and they play different. They play different. They're allowed in passing situations just flat out pin their ears back and go. But the brotherhood that they have in the Eagles locker room amongst the room with the defensive linemen is the same in Dallas, and that's key, because a lot of times you won't have veteran guys that are willing to reach out and visit with a rookie or take him under his wing. You might have one or two guys, but collectively the culture in both of those rooms is inclusive. So Dallas is going to beat Philadelphia. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I expect for them to split the matchup this year. I mean, the Eagles aren't that much better than the Cowboys, and hell, they might not be better than the Cowboys. But if you're comparing defense to the defenses, man, they're really, really close. They're really, really close. But those defensive line rooms are both really tight knit, man. The Eagles just have more depth. So
yeah,
be fun to watch.
I've said it before. These Eagles Cowboys game, especially if everybody's relatively healthy, are going to be the most watched games of the year. Facts.
Oh, for sure.
It's not going to even be close.
For sure.
But I'm gonna get my guy, Coach Marv. He always comes with some great questions because he used to coach. He says, "Ask him having a wrestling background helpful in hip and ankle development and contact balance."
Man, he already knows the answer to that. Hey, man, a wrestler. Man, this dude is from.
Talk about Colson. I mean, he's been doing it, killing it.
Man, whenever you have someone with a wrestling background that understands leverage, that understands how to move guys and not be moved, you're in beautiful shape, man. I would recommend all young football players to wrestle. So what's his name? Coach Marv, you said?
Coach Marv.
He knew the answer to that darn question.
He knew.
Before he answered
he knew
it.
He just wanted to hear what you had to say.
Oh man, boy, look here. Wrestling isn't as big as it should be here in the state of Texas. I think here in the state of Texas, track kind of takes the place of wrestling. But if you look at the Big Ten schools,
I'm in Ohio. Wrestling is huge out here.
It's
huge out here. A lot of these linemen wrestle, and you can see. And B, I announce high school football games. So I announce 2 different high schools. So I get to see, and I watch a lot of that trench work. And I find out I actually find out who wrestles, and you can see it in the high school games. A wrestler, a wrestler who's like a defensive lineman, you can tell. You can just watch it, and you can tell with like you said, the leverage, the pad level, how they're lower, how they know how to manipulate the offensive linemen. They're different, and that's why I feel like Osa, Chauncey, didn't Chauncey wasn't he a wrestler too, or was it just Osa?
I know for a fact Osa was a really, really good. I think he might have won state.
Yeah, Osa was
I'm not
nice.
Sure about Ghosty.
Yeah, I know Osa was nice.
I'm not sure about Ghosty. Yeah, but hey man.
That's why they got him in the middle, for real.
Bro, the mental toughness that you have to be a wrestler. The grit, the willingness to get down and get dirty, man. It all translates to football. And so like if guys that play football with a wrestling background are incredible. I mean, the hair on my back standing up, man. If I get a kid,
do you think?
Says, I wrestle.
So let me ask you this: do you think? And shout out to my guy Dwayne Brown, always coming with the $10 holla. Appreciate you bringing us the great interviews and content. I appreciate you all the time. But I want to ask you this. So if you're, let's say you're evaluating for your team, you're a scout for the team. Mm-hmm. You're looking at the defensive line. So when you see somebody with a wrestling background, are you biased to it automatically? Are you automatically like looking at that guy instantly like, okay, let's look at him first?
100%. 100%. Like there's certain boxes that we have to check, right? Height, weight, speed, athleticism, arm length. And then if he has a wrestling background, then that's an automatic check, right? I'm gonna put a little asterisk next to him. Let me see if Let me see if he's able to translate what he was able to do in wrestling to the football field. All right, that's 100%, 100%. Right? Yeah. And the second thing, man, that's key, and I should have talked about this earlier when we talked about, some of the characteristics of a good defensive lineman. Are they bringing the weight room to the football field? Can they bring the weight room to a football field? Do you have an inside guy that's getting down in his stance, in his squat base? Because that's when you're strongest, right? Or does he have it narrowed up like he's a sprinter? I mean, if you instinctively, naturally do those things, it's an organic thing for you to do, and I see that in a young player, whether it's a young collegiate player or a young player that's at the high school level, I'm excited, man. I'm like, yeah, we got something. We got a great foundation to build on. Yeah, for sure. What was the name, Coach? Who?
Coach Marv. Coach Marv brings it.
Man,
Coach Marv don't play around, dog.
Nah, he know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, because we always talk, and Coach Marv know what the hell he be talking about. So that's why I love having him on. But talk about arm length. Everybody always talks about arm length. Why is arm length so important?
Yeah, so and you're gonna see an anomaly this year in Kalijah Kancey, who doesn't have really good arm length.
Okay, good. Let's talk about him.
But yeah, he's so explosive and he's so twitchy. He gets called the second coming of AD because of where he went to school, and they kind of have some similar traits. But Kalijah Kancey is an absolute dog, man. He does have short arms, but he doesn't get caught on guys. And so when you hear guys talking about they want great long arms and arm length, it's so that they don't get caught on and stuck on blocks. It's so that they can get extension. And so when you have a guy that, and I've actually put some stuff in my consulting role, put some stuff together for guys that are, let's say 6'1", 6'2", but have the arm length of a guy that's 6'4". Mm-hmm. At that point, the 6'2" doesn't matter because he's got the arm length that you're looking for. So, guys that, you know what I'm saying, they're long. Mm-hmm. Well, that length, especially for an outside guy, plays a tremendous role because you want to be able to reach out and touch a darn tackle, man, before he can get his hands into your body. From the inside, in defending the run, you want to be able to get extension on a guy, whether you're going north or south or you're going lateral. You still want to have some type of extension. And if you don't have long arms, then that offensive lineman is going to be able to get into your body. And when that happens, he's in a position of advantage now because he can easily conceal holding you. Versus if you've got long arms, you can lock him out. Now it's a lot harder for him to hold, and it's a lot easier for you to get off of blocks with extension versus getting off a block when there's no extension, or what we call a fit with no air. Right. Mm-hmm. And so that's why arm length is vital for offensive linemen and defensive linemen. You hear that all the time. They talk about arm length. It's the one position that guys are going to get evaluated on, and if they can be the best player in the world, if they got little bitty arms, they got those T-Rex arms, man. It
don't matter.
Man, you got to be special.
Right. You got to be special. Like, you got to be quick off the ball, special. Like, You got to be
Kalijah Kancey. You got to be him.
Now, what do you think his position is going to be? Because, I mean, he's not super big. He's like, what, 285?
Kalijah, during pre-draft, he was 275, 285.
So where's he going to play? And now talk about, I mean, I want to hear, because he got a lot of disadvantages, but I want to see, like, what is he really, I mean, what position is it going to be his position? Is it going to be a
3 technique? He's a 3.
Keep him at the 3. Nothing else.
Oh, you can put him out there in some packages, and he can survive out there on the edge in a pass rush situation. At a 5, but he's a 3, man, because he's so incredibly twitchy, man. That dude is twitched up. I don't remember exactly what his 10-yard split was, but it was mind-blowing. I mean, he is super quick off the ball. Great football IQ, man. I mean, he understands what's happening, what guys are trying to do to him, and so, and
that's a huge advantage, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, man! He's got a motor.
You making me just ask all kind of questions because I'm just soaking this all up, y'all. I'm sorry. But when you talk about, we understand what football IQ is, but break down, like when you said football IQ, when you said understanding, because I want to keep getting into the mind, because I think people need to understand, because even though I don't want to keep going back, because even though you haven't seen Mazi, the stuff that you're telling me, it's opening my mind more to that's what the things that are lacking. When you say football IQ, talk to me about it. Like when you said he understands what they're already doing to him, and I said that's what I feel like Mazi is missing. Like he doesn't understand, and that's why he's a step slow, and they're able to get up on him quicker because he doesn't understand what they're trying to do to him right now.
100%. And that, again, I hadn't seen him. And that's why guys, the longer they're in the league, the better they become, just organically. And one of the things that we do and that I do in the training program from a holistic standpoint with defensive line development, it's the 3W teaching concept. What to do, when to do it, and why you're doing it. Right? Knowing what to do in the situation, right? Because if they're going to pin and pull, you got to be able to recognize that, like this. Okay, all right. They're trying to pin and pull me. This is what I need to do, and this is why I need to do it. Okay, but if you don't understand that, if you don't understand what to do, when to do, and why you're doing it, then you're gonna be slow. You have to be reactionary. Okay, right? If it's just put it in kind of layman's terms. If you're driving down the highway, and something's in the road, you're going to instinctively do 3 things immediately. The first thing you know is going to be, I got to get out of the way of that. Okay? So now you're going to look to your right or to your left, depending on where you're at. Okay? And then you're going to react. Okay? Right now, a guy that, and that process happens like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you're new, if you're a young driver, okay, and we put you in that scenario, 9 times out of 10, you're going to run through whatever that is because you're not reacting fast enough because you don't have the experience or you haven't been put in the position.
Right.
So that's why I have a job.
Right.
My job is to put guys in real football situations in training to get them to react appropriately. Okay. And so, and listen, James, listen, I'm not taking any shots or knocking any coaches or anything like that. One of the things that I say all the time is in order to be great, you have to be different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so you will see me just for the sake of practice, because guys have to win in practice under their coaches. We're gonna put them in position to win. Most defensive line play, they're putting guys in positions where they're in an advantage. And so back to having long arms, man, we want to always be extended. But shoot, 90% of the time, man, you're going to be in a fit with no air in the block where you're going to be shoulder pad to shoulder pad with a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's where we start. We start from a position of disadvantage. Okay. We start from a position that you're going to be in 90% of the time. And the reason why we do that, man, is offensive lines and offenses are successful at a crazy rate, bro. If an offense gives up 3 sacks in a game, okay, and they took 80 snaps in that game, how successful were they from a percentage standpoint?
Right.
Why they're less than a 1% failure rate there, right? They win at a tremendous rate, and so we have to put ourselves in a position to win, to work from what we know is going to happen, which we're going to be in a position of disadvantage, not advantage, but disadvantage. Okay, that's where you start, and then everything else falls into place because we win. Listen, we win when an offensive lineman makes a mistake, and you have to be able to make that offensive lineman make a mistake by putting pressure on him. Right? Every time I see a highlight of a guy getting a sack, first thing I'm looking at is what the offensive lineman did. Where was his mistake? Mm-hmm. Did he miss? Did he overset? Did he underset? There was something O-lineman did that allowed us to win. Okay? And then I'm going to go back and look at the last 5 reps that defensive lineman played before he got that sack. Okay? Because 9 out of 10, he had a pass rush plan. He set that up. Mm-hmm. He set that up, man. And so he set that up by forcing that offensive lineman to make a darn mistake. They don't lose a bunch, man. They don't, man. We don't win a lot. We don't. And so because we don't win a lot, we got to train from a position of disadvantage. Who led the league in sacks last year? Was it
I think it was the Eagles.
No, I'm talking about player. Was it Bosa?
Oh, I think it was Bosa.
Right? Let's just give him high teens. Like I've moved on from last year. Let's say high teens. Shoot, bro, he took 800 snaps. Let's give him 20, 21. He took 800 snaps. We win when they make a mistake. You listen, man. You see how they run the football in the league? See how they run the ball? You got dudes attacking your hips and double teams. They're going lateral, right? They're winning. They're winning at a tremendous rate. All the innovation, all the creativity is on the offensive side of the football. And so we're reactionary. And the only way you can react properly is to start off in a position in training and practice when you're in a position of disadvantage. And I told you I'm gonna upset some coaches, man, because you know our culture's monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
They see something on social media, bro, and I know I'm on.
That's this culture and content creating too, dog. So it's everywhere. It's a copycat league. It's a copycat league, dog.
If he's doing it, I got to do it, and it goes back to knowing who you are as a player.
But you know, you got to know what you're doing too, though. You gotta, you feel me? You can't just put it out there. You gotta know what you're doing.
Man, I'm looking forward to going out to practice next week.
Me too, because I can't wait for you to because we're gonna talk again, and you're gonna tell me what that Mazi's looking like, because I need to see from your perspective. I don't want to hear from nobody else. I'm just keeping it real, dog. I don't want to hear from nobody else. Because I know, and I'm gonna hit you up when there can't nobody else here, because then you gonna tell me all the juicy that we can't talk on air. So I'm gonna get all the juiciness. You feel me? So you gonna tell me all that.
I'm gonna give you some right now. I'm gonna give you some right now.
You gonna have to give me some.
I'm gonna give you some right now. Historically, defensive lineman from the University of Michigan I hope this kid is different.
Yeah, that's what
they had a kid. They had a kid last year, Aiden Hutchins,
yes,
right?
He broke the mold because a lot.
Boy, didn't he?
And they got a cat named, I think he's pretty good too. He's over there with the Colts. I think is it Twitty?
Yeah,
he's pretty decent.
I think you're right.
He's pretty decent.
He's decent.
He's decent.
Listen.
He's decent.
Let's see if he can put it together for 2 years, right? So look at the defensive linemen, especially the defensive ends for Michigan, man. They pump them out of there, man. But the last Cowboy pick from Michigan that was here was who? Taco Charlton.
Yeah. And that that pick has left a bad taste in Cowboys people's mouth. So once they pick Mazi, people are already hating. And so I feel like he is got at a disadvantage. Like you said, when they're starting at a disadvantage, the defense is starting at Mazi started at a disadvantage coming into Dallas because people are already saying, "Oh, that Michigan players
unfairly,
all the Michigan guys." And so anytime he had any little bit of a bad performance, see, we shouldn't have got a Michigan player. What I tell you about the Michigan players, that is the label with him. So he has to break them. It's probably unfair, but that's the label he has over his head right now. Let's keep it real.
Cut him some slack. Cut him some slack, man. There is a learning curve there. And I haven't seen him. All right, so he did enough in college to get picked in the first round. But shoot, man, cut the big fella some slack.
I know he's strong. That's one thing I do know. He's strong, and that's the thing I've noticed more than anything else. And I think he's athletic enough. I just feel like, just like you just said, he was more reading than reacting at Michigan, and he has to react more than read. And I feel like once he starts just reacting to it, pow, 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 not thinking about it, just pow, 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 that's when he's going to be dominant because the strength is there. The size is there. He's 6'3", 330 pounds, dog, and he don't look a 330. He looked like a 290. Yeah. You feel me? It's compact and it's strong. Yeah. So I just can't wait till I can't wait till you get a hold of him.
How important? And I don't know if he'll. I don't know if he'll work with me.
He got to. I'm gonna go talk to him.
Hey man, I appreciate that.
I'm gonna get lost.
It's his choice, man.
Yeah. They need to send him your way.
I'm available
because they send all of them to you, dog.
Well, I mean, how important is experience?
It's important.
Okay,
it's important.
So he's an inexperienced guy right now. So And listen, man, I talk to you all. You got me going, and my blood is going now, right? So, and I'm sure, hopefully, most people know that, man. I hang my hat on high school development, man. Like that, teaching a guy the game the right way. And so, when I send my high school guys off to college, I have to protect them with the truth and then manage their expectations. And when I say that, it goes to how they're going to be played. And I have to remind them, because they all say, man, I want to go play Power 5 football, and I want to play as a freshman. Okay? And the conversation is always the same every year. I'm going to take you back. This is what I say to a high school senior that's going off to school. And I say, I'm going to take you back to when you were a freshman in high school, and you wanted to play on varsity. Okay? You knew how that felt. I said, now I also want you to reflect on how you look at freshmen that want to play on varsity, that play on the line. You're looking at them and laughing like, man, you're not ready for this. Well, that cycle starts over again. You're a freshman again in college, okay? And there are guys, especially because of the pandemic, that have received an extra year. You got 22-year-old dudes in college that have been there for 5 years. And here you come, 18 years old, full of vinegar and piss, with no experience, right? That guy's seen it all, okay? Okay, now you're an upperclassman. You redshirted. You've been in the system for 3 years. Those last 2 years of play, You're experienced now. You've seen it all. That's why experience is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you get drafted in the first round. Now you've got expectations on you, high expectations. But guess what? That cycle started again. But this time, there's no controlled environment. There is no, this guy's been in college for 4 years and he's only been playing for 3. Now it's, this dude's been in the league for 8. Imagine the disparity in experience. Here you are, even more full of more vinegar and more piss. Can I curse?
Yeah, you can curse.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Curse.
I'll never curse at you, but sometimes
it's okay. It's okay.
It's the best adjective is some profanity,
Yeah,
right?
it's cool. I know you do it out there.
You got shit in your neck, right? You rip roaring ready to go, and you got this savvy veteran over here where the game is going in slow motion.
Right.
But it's going 100 miles an hour for you.
Right. And he just playing with you. He know. He playing with you.
And so that's why I say, and I said all that to say, man, give the young gun from Michigan a little bit of slack. And we got to give him a pass. We got to allow him to get his feet wet. Some guys don't need it. Some guys get in there like a fish to water, bro. But we gotta, let's see what he does. And thankfully, if he doesn't start, it's no big deal, right?
I think he is gonna. I think he's gonna start though, because he was starting all preseason. But I think this is what the difference is gonna be. B. He'll have veterans around him now. He won't have all them other young, experienced guys. He'll have the veterans that'll be able to help him, and I believe they'll be able to help him along by being around him. And I think Micah Parsons has really took him under his wing. He was out there boxing with him because Micah was geeked up when he got Mazi, because he was like, I need more D-Tech because I need to stay free. My linebackers need to stay free, so you need to get a guy up in the middle. It happened. So I feel like he's really taking him under his wing. Like, hey, look, big fella, we need you, dog. So whatever I got to do to be around you to help you be great, that's what I'm going to do.
We'll see what happens.
Right.
We'll see. We will see what happens, man. I think who they traded. They released Bohannon, right?
Yes. That's
because of tough. Well, that's because of the camp that Neville had.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and somebody had to go. And like you said at the top of this thing, you thought it was Neville.
Yeah, I did.
He went nuts. So let's see, man. Let's see what happens. Who do the Cowboys open up with?
Giants.
God, dog. That's gonna be a good one. Where's the game?
Dallas, I think.
You coming out?
I ain't gonna be out for that Giants game. I'm gonna be out for one game, but I ain't gonna be out for that Giants game. That's too close. I got too many things going on right now. But I'm telling you right now, that Giants defense, that Kayvon Thibodeau, he the truth, dog.
Yeah, and he was just okay last year. He flashed.
Yeah, he kind.
What do you think he's gonna do this year?
I think he's gonna turn up this year, dog. I really do. I think I do. I think he gonna be like, he gonna be in them double digits, I believe.
Man, shoot, you are, and he was surrounded by veteran guys. He had Big Jelly up there. He had Hattie. Shoot, they even bought in Jay Smith, man. I mean, he was surrounded by some veteran guys last year, and that helps. So yeah, man, we'll see, man. We'll see what the young fella from Michigan does. But historically, man, they kind of poof.
Yeah.
Historically.
Yeah. And that's what we're, I don't feel like it is, because I feel like, in my heart, I would know in my heart. Like, I've been around football enough to know that, but I see it, but I just feel like what you've been talking to me and what you've been telling me and explaining to me, I feel like those are things that it's not happening just yet. But as you said, experience. I feel like we got to get more experience, and we need to take a little bit of time, because this is a different type of defensive set, I believe, than it was at Michigan. It was more read and react, and now it's react and read. And I feel like, like you said, it's muscle memory. If a guy's been doing this a certain way for a long time, now you're retraining yourself and you're in, like you just said, B, you're in the middle of it. So as soon as that ball snaps, there ain't no time to be thinking.
Nah, got to be reactive. So let's just kind of put it in perspective what he's dealing with. Let's kind of put our feet in his shoes. He came from the Big Ten, right?
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the Big Ten teams are running north and south. You got a couple of them that's going to sling it. We know Ohio State going to throw that thing. But Michigan is going to run it. Nebraska is going to run it. Penn State's going to run it. Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan State, they're going to run the football, yes? Mm-hmm. Okay. But they're running it north and south. So he's used to base blocks. It's a different animal now when in the NFL, the majority of teams are running out of 10 and 11 personnel, and you're going to see inside zone, outside zone. Now guys are going laterally, and they have an advantage because they're lining up hat on hips. So there's 1.5 yards between you and them for contact. So that's why your feet are important. He's used to guys coming downhill on him. That takes time to get adjusted to. Okay. And so we have to allow that transition for him, man. In all fairness to him and any rookie, they have to get accustomed to that, man. He's not seen. Shoot, man, I bet it's 60-70% of what he'll see this first year at the collegiate level. That's why it's NFL football versus college football. Mm-hmm. You're gonna see savvy veterans that are gonna give you false reads, man. They're gonna hinge step, right? They're gonna make you think they're going left and they're going right. Right? And so you just have to be you get better through experience. And so I mean, I hope the big fella, I hope Mazi turns out to be a really, really good football player, man, for the Cowboys. I hope that he gets rid of that Michigan bad reputation. Mm-hmm. And I'd love for him to come train with
him. Me too. Like I said, I'm putting it in the air. And I'm hoping that'll happen because I just think it'll be even more beneficial to him to be even a better player, especially because I see the physical ability that's there. You know what I'm saying? But let me get this question from Coach Marv. He says, how important is it connecting the hand to the feet movement?
I mean, just tell him to call it.
I don't got to call in louder. I would. Coach be going ham.
Yeah,
because when he get good football mind, he want to talk good football.
It's important. It's every aspect of technique is important, and so a lot of guys will say hands are more important. And I'm gonna say this again. In order to be great, you got to be different, man. We focus on feet. Your feet are important. Your feet is where it starts and it stops. But your hands have to be able to tie in with your feet. And it's being able to deploy your moves, because your moves are important in pass rush, and they're even more important in run defense. Because the likelihood of you just running by somebody in a run game is slim. You can run by somebody in the pass game. And so in run defense, man, your hand placement, understanding leverage, understanding something simple. Like if I hold my hand up like this versus this, it's tremendous. That's on and off, right? So whenever your thumb is pointed inside like this, if you're extended, we're in bad shape, right? Our thumb is the key to our arm. So if your key is inside like this, your elbows are unlocked. You can't fight pressure with pressure. But when your thumb is up, now our elbow is locked. You can fight pressure with pressure. Okay? And so understanding things like that, a lot of people think leverage has to do with hand placement. It doesn't. The root word of leverage is what? Low. Low man wins. Low man wins. For years, it's been you got to get inside hand placement. No. Think about it. If you get inside hand placement on an offensive lineman, you're right down the middle of it. Is that where you want to be? No. And so being able to understand where your feet need to be and where your hands need to be, they tie in together. Feet are more important, but hand placement, understanding what to do, when to do it, why to do it is right there, right behind it. But feet are more important because if your feet have stopped in any aspect of play on the defensive line, we're in trouble. You gotta always run your feet. The acronym that you'll hear me screaming all the time is RYF. Run your feet. You see guys get in trouble when they stop their feet. When they stop their feet, you see guys get in trouble and run and pass. You can't restart your pass rush once your feet stop.
Man, you talking real, because the stuff that you're talking about is the stuff that I've seen from him. And when I watched him, I watched him against I don't think it was the Seahawks. I think it was Jacksonville game. And I watched him next to Osa. And I was watching his get off next to Osa every play. And Osa was just like, boom, firing off the ball. And what you just said, the thing I noticed about him, that now that you're telling me this, is that Osa's feet were constantly moving, like he was constantly going. And when Mazi got in trouble was when he just tried to, and this is what I saw, he tried to just out-strength people. Like he stopped his feet and he just tried to out. You're going to lose like that, because that's when it's like the offensive linemen were winning.
Yeah. Did you see the piece that they did with me and Isaac when he switched over?
I seen when you sent it to me. Yes, I watched it.
Yeah. Did you see that drill I had him doing? Going around in a circle?
I seen it, but I don't remember, because it's been a while since I watched that video.
Okay. I sent you a video today.
Oh, I got that on my Facebook.
Yeah, so you see
where they're going in the circle?
Where they're going in a circle, that drill is to teach several things. One is to RYF, run your feet. That position that they're in there is the position that they're in 90% of the time. An offensive lineman has put his hand somewhere on their shoulder pads, and there's no air in the block. And in order for us to be successful, we cannot stop our feet. Right? And so we train that. And then you'll see at the end, they'll work off of it. You got to be able to work from a fit. Right? You can't just work open moves. You got to work moves from a fit. But in order to be successful, you can never stop your feet. And so when someone leans on you, human nature, we're not designed to run through walls. Mm-hmm. Typically, when we run into something, we're going to stop. We're going to stop. And so you have to train yourself. People say, hey, man, don't stop your feet, but you got to train that. When somebody's leaning on you, when they're putting weight on you, hey, man, in order to keep going,
pad level is okay, but like I said, he just seemed like he'd be trying to out muscle people. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what gets him in trouble. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Right.
Stepping over, if you're stepping up, you means you're bringing your knee up. What's that automatically going to force your chest to do? Come up. Your second step, you're going to be darn near standing straight up. Right? Defensive linemen and get off need to be trained just like sprinters coming out of the blocks. They have to have what's called low heel recovery. We cannot have our foot off the ground. It has to be as close to the ground as possible. It needs to be that way for change of direction. It needs to be that way so that we have low heel recovery. Low heel recovery. Okay? We need to be in our drive phase, getting off the ball like a sprinter, going through a drive phase. If you see guys running track meet, man, and sprint, they're down.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're up. But we don't run. If we're running more than 5 to 7 yards in a get off, we're in trouble. So we need to stay in the drive phase. We need to have low heel recovery. We can't lift our knees high up off the ground. That's not it. Okay. We should be able to take 3 steps and cover 5 yards. And so back to Coach Marv saying how important his hands. Well, shoot, man, if you take your first step as a defensive end, it needs to be at least 1 yard. Okay. So now if you engage that offensive lineman on that first step, you're going to deploy your move in the position of same hand, same foot. Okay. You take another step. Now you're going to deploy your move in the position of opposite hand, opposite foot. And then on your third step, guess what you're going to be back in? Same hand, same foot. Okay. If you take more than 3 yards full speed, you're going to be past 5. That means you're past the quarterback. Okay. We've gotten too far up the field. They're going to wash us by. Okay. Now, you'll see guys, and I told you about the donkeyism.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see guys that have been taught to always and only deploy their move, same hand, same foot. So that you see them doing dumb.
You can say all that dumb shit.
You see them doing dumb shit like turning the toe. Hey, man, turn your toe. Say, man, show me some film. Show me some film on Sunday where he had his toe turned. If you're not able to do it on the game field, we don't practice and train it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You got to flip your hips. Jay, hey, man. I'm gonna give my age away, man. I was taught to flip my hip in the 80s. Right? You know why you tell a kid to flip his hips? Why it was done? It was done because that was back where everyone had to eat what they killed. They didn't give a damn about the linebackers.
Right.
We Olayan dudes. They running downhill. We getting skinny. We flipping our hips. Damn that. Linebackers, you on your own, son of a guns. Right? Man, we don't play that way no more. You better not, boy, that guard better not climb to the second level.
Right.
You better stay square in there. And in pass rush, man, look here. I told you I'm a functional movement guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if at any point in your pass rush, your shoulder pads are not facing the goal line, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Go back and look at some failed pass, and some more. It's a bunch of them. Hey, man, if you see a guy flip his hips, all of a sudden now, his shoulders are pointed toward the damn sideline. And so the next step he's going to take with his feet is a shuffle. You ain't winning on no damn shuffle. You see guys hit home when they're running. Like they're running a hoop. You're not flipping around that hoop. You're running the hoop. Right? Flipping hips is antiquated. And it's part of the monkey see, monkey do culture. People ask me all the time, and I've told you more inside stuff on this interview than probably ever, right? People say, Tuck, how do you continuously get guys ready to play? Well, it's because I teach guys to play from a practical standpoint. I'm not going off of what everybody else is doing. I don't even like talking to D-line guys. I want to talk to O-line guys. I'm going to spend time with them dudes I need to know what they're trying to do to us.
Right.
And so I don't know, and I'll bring it back and I'll say I don't know what Mazi knows and doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what his go-to is. I'm gonna ask him, man, hey man, what's your go-to pass rush move? And it'll be something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna ask him a basic question, man. How do you feel? Are you a pretty good pass rusher? And because we're so full of piss and vinegar and we got shit in our neck, 9 times out of 10 he's gonna say, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say, okay, well, you just got out of college, right? And before you were in college, you were in high school. And how did we know what type of student you were? We looked at your grades.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now that you play football without having to go to school, I need to know what type of production did you have? Because that's just like knowing what type of student you are. I need to know what type of player you are based on your production. And without me having to go look at some hard, deep analytics that's available with PFF and some other programs that are out there, how many sacks did you have? And so if you had 4 or 5 sacks from an interior perspective, that's pretty good. But you still suck because you took 800 reps. Just putting it in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You took 800. Getting a sack is one of the hardest things to do in football. Shoot, one of the hardest things to do in sports. The only thing harder in sports is hitting a baseball. Dudes go to the Hall of Fame at 30% failure rate. You hit 300, that means you hit 30%. You go to the Hall of Fame. That's how hard it is to hit the baseball. Football is the same. So if you have 4 or 5 sacks, man, you're not. No. You should get 1 a game. That's what you need to go. 1 a game. Then I need to see, okay, now, what do you do? What's your go-to pass rush move? Is it the butterfly move? Is it a power move? Do you want to open pass rush? Do you want to set a guy up? Like, how are you deploying your moves? Show me this. Super interactive. I need to know what he wants to do organically. And then we'll go to work. And I got to change this first.
Mm-hmm.
Got to change this first. This is the most important thing, man, from the neck up. I need to change his perspective. This is why the guys that buy into what we do, they have success. Right? The guys that buy into what we do, they have success, and you can have success without it. But I just happen to be in a position where we got some proven track records, man. I got a bunch of calls on Tuesday, man. Tuesday for me every year when it's cut down, say that last cut, it's heartbreaking. Because it's some unceremonious, we don't want you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a bunch of calls on Tuesday, man. And I tell them, I say the same thing, man. I didn't see you this summer. I ain't see you this summer, man. Why'd you get away from what's worked for so many years?
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, man, I'll see you in the lab. I mean, you home. I'll see you on Tuesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get back at it, man. But I say all that to say, man, this thing is overcomplicated, man. Pass rush and run defense is simple, man. And run is base reaching down. Shoot, it doesn't matter what they ask of you. If you can identify base reaching down, you're gonna be okay. Okay, base reaching down. And in pass rush, hey man, keep a high hand high, keep a low hand low. And if they don't give you hands, we go to power. It's simple and clean. Anything more than 3 steps, you've gone too far up the field. We are not go-go dancing or cha-cha. We must gain ground in our pass rush. Right? I mean, it's simple, man. It's simple. I think we've got a pretty good curriculum. I'm proud of it. I'm excited for it. Our guys have been wildly successful. I got some dudes that are going to have great years, man. Trayvon Walker's going to have a great year. It is.
I like
Gallimore. Oh man,
I like Trayvon Walker. I think I think that was a great pick for Jacksonville.
No, it was.
I think that was a good pick for them. I think that was the perfect team for him to go to. You know what I'm saying?
So they got the number 1 overall pick, right?
With him, they did.
Yeah. How good were they in order to get that?
Not good. Well, they weren't that bad.
Well, they got the number 1 pick.
I mean,
so
they had talent. They just had a terrible coach, because you saw when they got Peterson how quick he flipped them.
Okay. Did you watch Trayvon in college?
I watched a little bit.
What did he play?
He was playing a lot of 3? Well, he played outside
4,
3 or 4.
He was a 4. He was a 4 and a 4-eye. Okay.
He can play all over the field, can he? Though.
Yeah,
he can play
but
all down the line.
He's 6'6",
right,
270,
right,
and fast as hell, right? Georgia had him at a 4 and a 4-eye. He's physical, point attack, SEC football, right?
Isn't that, before you finish, isn't that crazy? All them damn players Georgia has, especially on defense. That's crazy, dog. Like, that's
they gotta
crazy.
Figure it out.
Yeah, they got to figure it out.
Figure it out. They gotta figure it out.
Do they go?
I'm gonna tell you a story. When I was in Atlanta, I was in Atlanta in June.
Yeah,
So Trayvon goes to Duval, and this is the guy that played in a 4-eye, and he's lining up at a 9.
He wide 9 in it.
Go look at the film.
That's crazy. Yeah,
bro. They let him do what he wants. He got away from who he is. Bro, you a physical point of attack guy. I don't care if they say your title is outside linebacker, man. We got to get back to what we do, man. If you don't tighten that alignment down and kick offensive lineman's ass, that's what you do. And so that's what we worked on all spring, all summer, man. You'll see they still going to line his butt up out there, but you're going to see him change his pass rush angle. We're going to get physical. We're going to get physical, man.
Why do they want him outside so much?
Same reason they got the number 1 overall draft pick.
They're doing too much, right?
I mean,
slide them inside and let them be dominant.
Hey, man, when was the last time the Chiefs had number 1 overall pick?
Right.
When was the last time the Patriots had it? When was the last time the Eagles? Like, you talk about your perennial powerhouses right now. This is the last 5 or 6 years. None of those guys have had a number 1 overall pick. The damn Duval's picked in the top 5 and 10. Right? Like, they had to be up there for Trevor Lawrence, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I just watch what's going on, man. Yeah. I mean, this dude needs to be tight.
Yeah, he needs to. Yeah. Because it takes away from
Atlanta.
him.
Yeah. So just talk about Georgia, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Atlanta this summer.
Mm-hmm.
I was there twice. So the first time I was there, I was actually doing Trayvon's camp at his high school. And a young man showed up. That's a 2025. That means he's a junior this year. 6 foot, let's call it 4, 285 in high school. Already committed to Georgia. His first name is Justice. I can't call his last name right now. Absolute. I thought he was when he walked up, I thought he was one of his teammates from.
That's crazy.
This dude's like, nah, man, I'm in high school. I'm like, holy. Bro, they get him left and right.
6'4", 280, 2025.
In high school.
2025.
In high school.
That's crazy.
285. Not an ounce of fat on him. In high school. Georgia got to figure it out.
Yeah, they got to figure it out.
They got to figure it out,
That's
man.
crazy.
And them dudes they're walking around in the southern part of the country a dime a dozen, man. They just got big human beings.
They keep
Big
that.
ones.
They keep that line stocked
On both sides of the football.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing, man. And so, you know, we got big dudes here in Texas, but
them Georgia boys, them Georgia boys, it's a different breed down there, dog. That's a different breed. They always been like that, dog. You feel me? Let me get this question from Coach Mark, because you know he come with him. Said question.
Yeah, come on.
So would you use a young D lineman like Mazi only with things he does well at first and then build slowly on that?
100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. Keep his confidence up. Keep his confidence. You can't afford to have a guy second guess himself. And confidence is key, man. So I would absolutely, and I don't know what he does well, but whatever the hell it is, I'm gonna have him do that and work on everything else. So 100%. I would if I was in charge of that room, I would figure out really quickly whatever his strength is, and I would have him do that. And that's my philosophy all the time anyway. I don't ever try to make a barking dog bite, ever. I mean, you gonna bark, we gonna bark your ass.
Right.
We're gonna leave the biting to somebody else. All you want to do is bark.
Right. Now I want to ask you about a player, and people always be getting on me because they say I be getting on him all the time. I don't get on him. I just say he's not just the greatest pass rusher in my opinion, but he's a very good all-around player. But what makes Demarcus Lawrence, because you've been around him for a while, what makes him a good player? What makes him so good?
Man, who knocks him?
I be knocking him because people, and I'm gonna tell you why I knock him. Because people be talking. I just don't think he's the greatest per se pass rusher where you're getting like, he's not a 10 sack guy to me all the time. I think he's like 6 to 8 sacks a year, but what he does in that run game and everything else adds to that. And I think that's what makes him a great all-around player. But if we're strictly pass rushing, no, I'm sorry. In my opinion, I don't think he's a great pass rusher. I think he has very good moves, but I don't think he's super athletic. I think his pass rush moves get him so his sacks. But I feel like if he goes against a top-tier guy, I don't know if he's beating that guy all the time on pass rush.
Do you have your computer up?
Mm-hmm.
Let's pull up his stats. Let's pull up his stats for the last 5 seasons. I think, hey man, Tank is obviously he's at the back end of his career, right? I think that he is really, really savvy. He's a really savvy veteran. He wins more than he loses. And I think that because he's had the years of service, that he's losing against that undefeated foe named Father Time.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, expectations are extremely high from him because we saw him be completely and totally dominant. And so I think at this point, in his career, you know, he's still a starter. He still has.
Hold on one second. I'm doing too much again.
Let's see. Stats. So last year he had 6. 2021 he had 3. 2020 he had 6.5. 19 he had 5. And 18 he had.
He ain't had double digits since that contract year, big dog.
So
that contract year is when he turned up. 2017 he had like 14. But I think 2018 when they wanted him to get that money again, he hit that 10. I just don't feel like, you know,
so you looked at the numbers. You looked at the numbers and disposed of your guy. Hold on. Let's look at his rookie year, 2014. He barely played, right?
He was hurt. He broke his foot.
Okay.
And then he came back 2015.
8 sacks.
Yeah, but that was at the end of the season. But in his first 3 years, he only had 9 sacks.
Okay.
First 3 years, 9 sacks.
Okay.
And that's when they drafted Taco, in my opinion, because he was up for that contract year, 2017.
Taco came in 17, right?
Yes, they drafted Taco just in case he didn't do it. Now they were thinking this is our future guy. But D-Law went crazy.
Randy was the future at that point.
Right, but he was still in trouble though.
Yeah, but he was still that dude. But if you look, Tank isn't any different than anybody else. They go nuts at contract year. You'll see Neville have a great year.
I know that.
Right?
That's true. But since then, it's been what I thought he was.
Look,
what I'm saying?
1, 2, 3. Oh shit! Didn't play in 14 because he was hurt.
Yeah.
Had a really good season in 15.
8 sacks at the end of the season because he was sackless his first 8 games.
Okay. And then in 16,
he got hurt because he got hurt, and then he had the drug thing. He got suspended for 4 games, but then he had a bad back, so he was pretty much injured that whole year.
So now
2017 is when he turned up.
Look, watch this, and we're gonna go back to what I was talking about earlier.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. So from 2014 to 2016, that's 3 seasons. Guess what he's got now in this belt? Experience.
Right.
And he showed out. So 17, 14 and a half, 18, 10 and a half. Then guess what happens? He gets hurt.
I don't think it's just hurt, big dog.
Well, hurt has a lot to do with it. When you're doing rehab and physical therapy versus...
Well, yeah, you're right. But I think that has, let's see, not say hinder, but I feel like many injuries that you've had slows the body down. You're not able to do what you can do, so you have to rely on your pass rushing moves because it zapped some of your ability to do what you probably could have did those prior years.
Let me ask you, how many Pro Bowls
are we in agreements with that?
Yeah. How many Pro Bowls have you been?
Maybe 2 or 3. I don't know. Maybe 2 or 3. D-Law's been about 2 or 3.
I think he's been 2, 3, or 4. Let's see how many.
I know he went to. He's got 3.
3.
Yeah. He's got 3.
Yeah. So he's got 3. So now let's take away that year 2014 when he didn't play because he was hurt, right?
Right, but he's been hurt the majority of his career too.
Oh, that's the point that I'm trying to make, man. You're still talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and he's been hurt. So let's just give him a good, strong 4 years out of the 8. He's making Pro Bowl. I mean, and so if you take all things into consideration, we were just treated to greatness, right? He had a couple years where he was just absolutely phenomenal, and we became spoiled. And so when he's not going to get double-digit sacks, we're like, God, dog, what's wrong? And it's because of that flag that's hanging behind you. Cowboys, man, we go to Super Bowl every year, right? I tell you what, man, because I'm from California originally, man, And people say, Tuck, man, why'd you stay in Texas, man? 'Cause I love football.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna tell you something. I've been rooting for the Cowboys in the closet for as long as I've been here.
Oh, I know that.
Because
I told you that.
When they win, it's like Mardi Gras around here, bro.
You're right.
When they lose,
yeah, it's hell.
It's like, what was that? Was the Chicken Little? The sky is falling?
Yeah,
There's a cloud over the city.
Yeah.
The day the Cowboys lose that last game of season in the playoffs, it's the worst situation. I mean, so the expectation is very, very high around here, man. And don't discount. Let's not discount or minimize a really good football player, man. Like, he's not going to go to Hall of Fame. We're going to look back and say this dude was his career was cut short by injuries. But man, this dude was really, really good, man.
Oh, I'm not taking anything away from him saying really good. I'm just saying on my end, on the pass rush ability, I just don't feel like he's elite. That's where I'm coming from. But as far as overall, for a period, it was a short period. It was a very short period.
You're not wrong.
You feel me? It was a very short period, but that all-around game is what really made D-Law who he is. And what you're talking about right now is because you don't see guys like him that can rush the passer and hold down the run.
Yeah.
That is a type of trait not a lot of the edge guys really, in my opinion, can do. And I feel like that's what he's really done at a high level more than anybody else. And that's what's really been his staple, is that he's an animal in that run game as well. And that's what I really love about him, because you got to be able to set the edge. And that's huge. You got to be able to set the edge. And when you get guys that can set the edge and rush the passer, you don't get rid of that. And I feel like that's why he's had such a long career in Dallas.
Yeah, man. And the rooms changed dramatically, right? When Tank got here, who was here?
And wasn't nobody here when he got there. That's what he was looking for, a war daddy.
He did. Jerry said a lot. Look, there was a guy in the room that was the alpha in the room by the name of Tyrone Crawford.
Yeah.
And so let's just kind of think back to when Ty is there. There's no additional weight and accountability of being the leader. Okay. So you had Ty, you had Sean Lee. Right? Weren't those guys leading the defense?
Mm-hmm.
And so Ty stayed about 2 seasons too long. Back was bothering him, but he stayed to lead that room. Okay. And then when Sean left, I mean, now Tank he's expected to be the leader. Now there's additional pressure. Right. And I know guys say, man, he should be expecting that. Yeah, man, we get it, but not everybody can assume that position right away. I think he's the leader now.
Yeah, I definitely feel like he's the veteran leader now. But this is what I'll also say about D-Law, in my opinion, is that there's certain players. I'll take Micah Parsons, for example. Micah Parsons don't need no players. He can just be great by himself, and then everybody around him just raised the level because he's just so damn good. I feel like D-Law is better when he has a Micah Parsons, or and he has even other better players around him. Then that's when you see how good he is. I feel like when you put it all on him, it's a struggle. When he has other players around him that are really, really good, then that's when D-Law is really, really good, in my opinion.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? Just my opinion on that.
But hey, man, is that fair though? Because Micah Parsons is a generational guy.
I know, but you know what I'm saying. Some players can't just be that guy like all the time. Where I feel like Parsons is that guy from day one. You feel me? D-Law is a player that blends and is better when he blends.
Yeah. No, you're hitting the nail right on the head, man. And now we gotta take our hat off and salute 11.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he didn't even play his last year at college. He didn't play.
Right.
And then he hit the league, and we haven't seen a transitional talent like that since Lawrence Taylor on defense. Like, he's changing the game. He's that darn good, man. He is that darned good, man. And as long as he stays healthy, you're talking gold jacket. He's that darn good, man. I take that back. We saw Vaughn. Vaughn was like that. Aldon Smith was like that, right?
Well, yeah, when he first came out, he was definitely all like that.
That's 11, man. Like 11 is. Did you see what he did in all season?
I mean, he's different. I mean, this is what I said to people about Micah is that we need to appreciate what we have. We can't take him for granted. Okay. We cannot take the talent he has for granted. And every time I listen to Micah, and I made a video about this, B, that everything you hear from Micah is, I want to win a Super Bowl. I want a Super Bowl. He ain't about, to me, the glitz and glamour and all that. He's about winning championships and winning. That's what he's about. And this is what I'm telling Cowboys fans. Let's not take that for granted, because I feel like he's not the type of player that, as much as he may love the Cowboys, if we ain't winning, he ain't going to keep wanting to stay here. That's my opinion. He's not going to do that because he wants to win championships where he leaves football, period.
Hey, man, 2 years in a row, his first 2 years, he goes out and get 13 sacks.
That's what I'm saying. That's different, dog.
And he wasn't even a full-time pass rusher. You're talking about witnessing greatness in its infancy.
Yes.
He's still getting better. He doesn't have a bunch of experience yet. There's going to be a sweet spot. As long as he stays healthy, there's going to be a sweet spot in there of about 3 or 4 years where he's the best player.
He's going to totally dominate the league.
The best player in the league.
And the only thing that's going to stop him, like you just said, dog, is health. That's the only thing that's going to stop this, because he is about to be unstoppable, dog. Like, I'm going to keep it real. You know, I'm appreciating the greatness, because I remember when he was coming out of the draft, and just like you said, we had the pandemic and he didn't even play his last year and he got drafted. And I was hearing Micah Parsons and this, and I hadn't really, watched him. So I wouldn't pull up tape because I had some tape of all their games. And I watched them. I think it was against, it was Minnesota. It wasn't a big time team. I watched 3 plays and I was like, get him.
Yeah.
I promise you. I just saw 3 plays and I was like, get this dude, dog. He's different. He's different.
You know what he did? When I saw this, I said, oh shit. When I saw this. See, I say this all the time, man. In order to be great, you got to be different. If you practice and train like everybody else, you're going to be just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me why this dude went and got a big wit.
I know.
He said, man, I need to know what
y'all are doing. What y'all are doing to me.
That's what
you just said. That's what you just said. That's what you just said.
Bro, when he did that, I said, oh, shit. I called my program director. I said, he just put it together. The young gun's going to go nuts this year. He said, Tuck, what are you talking about? I said, man, he just went and he spent 3 weeks with Big Wit. I said, man, like most D linemen are like, man, I hate these dudes. Man, this dude just embraced and asked the questions. Instead of trying to figure it out, he went and asked the question. He put his pride and his humility down and asked the questions. Right? I mean, James, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
50.
Hell yeah. So So you know what I'm talking about when I say this.
Yes.
First of all,
exactly.
First of all, hey man, black don't crack. Right.
Appreciate you.
So I'm 48, bro.
Uh-huh.
We predate GPS.
Right.
Okay. We used to get instructions kind of like this. I'm trying to come to your house and you say, hey, I'm at the intersection of this and this. And if you go past the house with the red door, you went too far.
Right.
Okay. And if we were looking for a business, how long did we drive around looking for it before we stop and ask someone? Okay. Well, that's what defensive linemen are. We're too prideful as men, as competitors, as combatants to go ask.
Mm-hmm.
This dude going into year 3 has the humility and the pursuit and drive for greatness to go and ask one of the best to do it. And I'm not talking about, like, he's not going to ask a Hall of Famer. He's going to ask somebody that was just playing 2 years ago.
So he's fresh with it.
But he's on a different level, bro. I just said, man, I hang out with offensive linemen. I mean, Andre Gerard is one of my business partners. The program was developed because of the information.
I seen you with him.
Matter of fact, you know, they're retiring his jersey's getting retired at Colorado, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be dope. But yeah, I mean, when you got a young gun who's had success, he's not sitting back and saying, "Oh, I made it." He went and spent time with an offensive lineman, bro, to try to figure. He's got it figured out, bro. Like he's. Mark my word, what type of season he has, he stays healthy.
Oh, I already know. I said, you know, I ain't all about the sacks, but I said this is the leap that when you saw Demarcus Ware, when he was there, when you saw him and you was like, oh yeah, he's getting it, and now he's just about to explode. You just saw from D Ware where you was like, okay, he's about to explode, like he about to go crazy this year. That's the same way I feel about Micah now. Just like you just said, that 3 or 4 year period, I think this is where it starts, in my opinion. I think this is the year in the next maybe 3, maybe 4 years, injury-free, he's going to dominate the whole NFL. The way we saw Aaron Donald, even how, you know, we seen some of the Lawrence Taylor, like we saw Lawrence Taylor, okay? So
people
don't understand. Like when they're like, oh, you can't say that. Yes, I can, because I watched Lawrence Taylor intently. And that's the only guy that I've seen since Lawrence Taylor that can do what Lawrence Taylor does, because I watched Lawrence Taylor intently because he's one of my all-time favorite players. I don't care if he played for the Giants. He's one of my all-time favorite players. And when I see Micah Parsons, I'm like, dog, that's the only record that I can see that can do what Taylor did. Because Taylor used to destroy games.
Man, you know who Michael reminds me of, man? A smaller, faster version of Simeon Rice.
Ooh, Simeon Rice was nice too. Dog. Simeon Rice was a dog. Like, people be forgetting about how nice he was with both squads.
One of the most underrated dudes.
Defensive ends ever. I'm gonna say one of the most underrated ever, Simeon Rice, because people forget about how good Simeon Rice was, dog. And he had the prototypical size, the speed. He had all the elements that you wanted in the edge rusher too. All the elements.
So now, if you want to talk about someone that's Micah's size, that got it in quietly and people are sleeping on, Jared Allen.
Ooh, yeah, because that run he had with Minnesota and the Chiefs,
Come on, bro.
Yeah, you named up some guys that people forgot about, because I forgot about Jared Allen, because that's 21 sack guy.
Come on, man. How did you forget about
I didn't forget about no Jared Allen, because I'm the lasso sack. I ain't forget about no Jared Allen now. I'm just saying, people don't appreciate Jared Allen. Like, you're not going to mention Jared. A lot of people just ain't going to throw Jared Allen out there. But that's just like you throwing out your boy that I thought people slept on, rest in peace, is Kevin Green.
Man, look. So I was going to give you two more players, and Kevin Green was one of them. You know who the other one is, rest in peace? Derek Thomas. I mean, Derek Thomas was LT's in the AFC. Derek Thomas, bro.
He was the LT of the AFC. He was the LT
bro.
of the AFC.
Hey, man, when you go out and get you 6 sacks in one game?
7.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was 7.
It was 7. He almost got to 8, but that's when David Craig dipped him and he threw the touchdown, which was crazy. You got 7 sacks, dog. Almost got to 8. 7 sacks.
Come on, man.
Derek was 8, dog.
Bro,
I remember when he was at Alabama. I remember he was at Alabama. He was a dog.
What? Pound for pound, that's Micah, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think DT was as fast as Micah, but like pound for pound, like just body type, you're talking about Jared Allen, Derek Thomas.
I'm going to say the body type is like Derek Thomas for sure. Micah Parsons body type. Derek Thomas for sure.
Bro, I mean, there's some Dwight Freeney, same size, right? Dudes that was flat
Freeney
out.
Was a little shorter. Freeney was shorter.
He was.
Yeah, Freeney was about 6 foot, maybe. And that made him even better.
Hey.
I remember he was at Syracuse, dog.
Oh, what?
Killing them at the Cuse.
Hey, man, what's crazy is his teammate that was on the other side, Duke Pettijohn. No, he went nuts too, but so you know, listen, man. I like DLine history, like I can't help it, man. But bro, when you talking about a guy like T Sizzle, sucks.
Arizona State, dog, and here's the thing: he had a lot of flags. Like he wasn't tall enough. He ran like a 4.8, like in his 40. That's what dropped him so far. It came in murdering folks. Now, if you watch any of his damn tape in college, you would say throw all them damn whatever size measurements, throw all that out the door because he was an absolute animal. Came right in the league wrecking fools.
Hey man,
T-Sizzle was nasty.
T-Sizzle
was nasty.
And he's a little bit bigger than Micah, but you see the company that we're mentioning in this guy who's a generational player, man. And again, the most intriguing thing for me about Micah is that not once has he been a full-time rusher. Not once. If he plays 60 plays in the game, 15 of those plays he's going to be in coverage or at linebacker. What do we get? What do we get if we can see him just line up as an end?
Well, that's what they're talking about, him putting him more at the edge. But, you know, he's so damn good, you just want to move him around so nobody just get that beat on him. But if he just wanted to be a full-time edge guy, he's for like you know, they have that period where you're getting like 13, 14 sacks a year, 15, 16. That's what he would be. That's what he would be. That's what he would be.
Scary. It's scary.
He would get 20 sacks in the season. I definitely feel like Micah Parsons could definitely get 20 sacks. Because let people forget how many games he had would-be sacks and they just got the ball off. Like they just released it and he was taking them down. He could have had a lot more sacks this past season, but people were just getting rid of the ball or they're throwing it away because he's on their heels about to tackle him.
Hey man, you're singing them same songs I'm talking about too, man. And he missed some, right? Like where he had a guy and he got away. Like he missed some. You know, so like that dude.
Oh, hey, my guy Ronnie brought up another good one. Jonathan Taylor. Is it Jonathan Taylor? Is it Taylor?
Who? For who?
From Miami. Taylor.
Oh, Jason Taylor.
Jason Taylor. I don't know why I was saying Jonathan. Jason Taylor, yes. Now, Jason was
Taylor,
longer.
he's coaching at Miami now.
Is he?
Yeah, Taylor's
And what's so
coaching.
crazy is Taylor came from Akron.
Bro.
Taylor was
Jason
nasty. Jason Taylor was nasty, dog. Them long-ass arms. He was so damn long. Them long-ass arms. That's the thing I remember about Taylor was them long-ass arms, dog.
Like a praying mantis out there.
Right. Praying mantis. Straight up.
Who brought him up? Who said something about Jason Taylor?
Ronnie, I'm going to put the name up. Ronnie K. Pender.
Hell yeah, Ronnie K. Pender. Hell yeah. Hey man, that's a damn good one.
That's a good one.
That's hey man, that boy there, man, Jason Taylor, boy.
Taylor was nasty. Oh, dog. And what's so crazy, Zach Thomas was a beast. We had Zach Thomas. Dallas had Zach Thomas, but we had him at the end. But that 8-year period of just tackling machine, and that dude wasn't number 5'11". I remember he was at Texas Tech. Like, that's when I watched college football, dog. Back in the day. I don't watch college football because it's just crazy now. It's just so different. But back in them late 80s, 90s, I knew every college player, football, all of it. I knew all of it because that was the shit back then. Excuse my language. But them 90s, the early 90s, that's when some good ass college football. Late 90s, the Miami Hurricane team, dog. Yeah, that was good college football. Yeah,
man. Whoever that is, Jason Taylor, man, that's a damn good one. Great call, man. But Zach was, I root for undersized dudes, man. So Dexter Coakley, Fred Davis, Zach.
That win.
Texas A&M's finest. What are you talking about?
Texas A&M's finest, that win.
Dog,
that was a beast. I remember Texas A&M, he was racking up the tackles every year. That was a beast. I love watching that win, dog.
So his last year down there, they played the first game of the season against UCLA. And Jonathan Ogden.
Jonathan Ogden.
And man, Jonathan Ogden manhandled Dak. That's the first time I ever saw him get done that way, man. And I said, that guy Ogden must not be a human being, because that was serious, man. You hear me?
But you see remember how big Jonathan Ogden was, dog? That man was like 6'8", 360 and could move like no other. Could move,
man. Yeah. So man. So Micah, man, is gonna be great, bro. He is. Leighton. I told you, Chad Moore, the Wizard. Mm-hmm. That's who got him right, man. I mean,
I told you LVE is gonna have. And here's the thing, LVE, people be hating on LVE. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I hated on LVE for a little bit. I did.
Why you hate on him?
Because you know what, I probably shouldn't have hated him on as much, because you know how he came in, ballyhooed, he tore up, but then he had that neck injury. I get it. And I just feel like that played on his psyche for a few years. It has to. You're a linebacker, and you have an injury like that. And then he actually got IR'd with that injury, so that had to play a part in his psyche. I don't care what nobody says. And of course, he's going to say in the media, I'm good. No player's not going to say in the media, oh, my neck's messed up, I'm a little spooked. Nobody's going to say that.
Right.
But it's real. And I think that, number one, them getting Jonathan Hankins and them getting big boys in the middle that able to keep him free. Now you're starting to see the LVE that we were accustomed to when he came out the draft. I think he's one of the better coverage linebackers. He has the size. He's 6'4", 250. He has everything you want, and he's playing better. And
he can run too.
He can run. I ain't hating on LVE, dog. And I think I said he's going to have a slept-on year this year. I said he's going to be the most improved this year.
So the first 3 years, who is his linebacker, mate?
Jalen Smith.
Jalen Smith, man. And so for that 3-year period, Dallas had the best young linebackers in the NFL. At the time, if you remember, Luke Kuechly was killing people for Carolina. He was killing people.
Man, Luke Kuechly was the man.
He was killing people, bro. But outside of that, it was the two young guns in Dallas, man. They was tackling dudes and howling at the damn moon and carrying on. And I was like, oh boy, these young dudes, if they could, and at the time, Dallas was suffering in the secondary. The D-line was good, right? Suffering in the secondary. It's always been one of the position groups hasn't been where they need to be. They've never really been able to put all three levels together. Right now, I think they've got, enough bodies at all three levels, man, to be a contender. To be. What was the record last year, Jan?
12-5.
What was it?
12-5. Two back-to-back 12-5 seasons. That's why this season right here, it feels like it's all in because they went out and actually traded for people. They actually manipulated things that, you see they just got Trey Lance. They got Brandon Cooks. They got Stephen Gilmore. They went out and drafted Mazi, where they ain't never drafted a defensive tackle in like over 30 years. Doing things they haven't done in a very long time. So, like I said, it feels like an all-in season. And, we're going to see. You feel me? We really going to see.
They were 12-5. And think about how long was Dak out?
And Dak was out 5 games. We won 4 games with Cooper Rush, and nobody believed that one. Nobody believed that. And I still don't believe Cooper Rush. But it was that defense.
Who they lose to?
We lost to Philly. We lost to Tampa Bay. We lost to Green Bay. We lost to Jacksonville. And then we lost to Washington. Washington at the end of the year, I ain't going to really count that one because we weren't really playing that. But the ones that stung the most to me was that Jacksonville game and that Green Bay game because both of those games.
They went to Jacksonville.
And we should have won those games. Both of those games. We went to Green Bay. We went to Green Bay. And we had both those games won.
100%.
That's why Kellen Moore is not here anymore. For real.
Listen, don't get me talking about that damn Kellen Moore now.
We ain't even gonna talk about him.
Over Mike McCarthy?
Yeah.
You let him call the offense over Mike McCarthy?
That's the golden boy, though.
Yeah, no, I mean.
Okay, so I want you to answer this for me right quick, B.
Yeah.
So, my guy Trey, and I love you, dog, but he goes, I don't want my linebacker needing protection. Micah didn't need that from the linebacker position. Yes, he does, and I need you to tell me about this right quick. Linebackers need big men in the middle. Ray Lewis even said it. Ray Lewis, when they were talking about, look like Ray Lewis fell off a little bit. You know what Ray Lewis came back and said? He said, no, you need to get me a big man in the middle so I can go back to being great because I need that. That's why they got Saragusa. That's why they got Hogan Nada. That's why they got all them big men.
McCarthy. Not McCarthy. He just passed away recently. But no. Who is this guy? Ask him how old he
is. Trey, how old are you? No, I mean Micah sheds it, but you need a big man. Micah's going to wear down just like anybody else if he's not being clean. That's just a fact.
That question that he asked
says 38.
He's borderline. So he got to see some old school football where we really didn't protect linebackers. So he's on the tail end of that. So I'm 10 years older.
Sam Adams.
Yeah, so I get where he's coming from, but
I get where he's coming from too.
The game's not played like that anymore. And no disrespect at all, but the way defensive schemes are developed and designed now, we want our linebackers to be able to scrape and feel without being touched. We don't want offensive linemen climbing to the second level. And so that's how the game was played in high school, college, and in the NFL. And so if you got a guy that's used to being clean and now you got linemen climbing on him, he's not going to be able to, not everyone is from that rock of being able to shock and shed guys that they're giving up 100 pounds to or 80 pounds to. I mean,
no, LVE does no. I'm not saying LVE. LVE has always been a guy that hasn't been the super contact guy. I even said that when he came out of Boise State, he was never super contact guy. What I'm saying is, as good as Micah Parsons is, if he keeps getting offensive linemen coming to the second level, getting their hands on him, he's going to wear down like anybody else.
100%. We got to keep him clean. You got to keep him clean. And so, Ray and let's go back a little bit further. Let's go back to Ditka and LaVon Kirkland and
LaVon Kirkland, Joey Porter with that whole wrecking crew.
Yeah, so just look at the body type of those guys.
Remember Adelius Thomas? He was nice too.
Yeah, man, you're talking about big, strong, fast dudes.
Remember Peter Boulware?
Yeah, guys that didn't have to cover.
That linebacker crew was nice. Yes, that linebacker crew was nice though. Adelius Thomas.
Guys that did not have to cover, they had to deal with running the ball. And so our linebackers now, because the game is so vertical and lateral, those dudes got to be able to run, and you can't run. Like the fact that Leighton is as big as he is anomaly any darn way.
Right.
The first time I saw him,
and that he can cover as well as he can for his size. Coverage linebacker.
Bro.
Let's keep it real. He's great in coverage. He's a coverage linebacker.
Bro, I went to the team hotel his rookie year. I was training a kid, Lewis Neal out of LSU. Mm-hmm. And I went up to the team hotel to visit, and Leighton was walking out. And I remember asking him, I said, man, who the hell is that? He said, Tuck, that's the Vander Esch kid. I said, God, dog, he's huge. Like, you don't, when's the last time you saw a 6'4", 250-pound linebacker, bro? I mean, shit, he's huge and can run. But the injury bug, bro, when it bites you, you're big.
Mm-hmm.
It'll end you. It'll
make you play. It'll make you play different.
Yeah.
It'll make you play different.
100%.
Right.
100%. 100%. I'm gonna light my cigar, man. You got me.
It's all good. I wish I had my black on here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got me going, man.
Yeah, man. But talk to me about an edge guy. You really broke down that middle for me, and I love it because I'm gonna go replay this. But when I asked you about what made a good to great defensive tackle, I love the breakdown. But I really didn't ask you about what makes a good to great edge guy. What are traits that you look at from the edge, and is it different from the D tackle position? Things that you look at.
The foundation is the same. We're still looking at ankles and hips. The foundation is the same. Edge guys, like just me personally, I'm looking for edge guys that have an organic trait to hunt QBs.
Mm-hmm.
Like some guys just get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you got some guys that have been built. Okay. I'm gonna give you a couple examples of edge guys. I'm gonna talk about a guy that's been built. George Karlaftis. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
George Karlaftis was created. Okay. You're talking about a kid that's from Greece that didn't start playing football until he was 14, 15 years old. and he's what we call a set line rusher. And there's a lot of defensive line coaches that teach set line rushing. And basically what you're doing is if the offensive lineman does A, you do B. If the offensive lineman does H, you do I, right? So you take what he gives you or you force him to do something and set line rushing. That's the equivalent of someone developing a jumper in basketball. And then you have a guy like Montez Sweat, who is an absolute physical freak. Big, long, fast, super athletic. He's just gonna go. He's not, and he's a dog, right? But there is no rationale. He's not trying to get a guy to do this, to do that. He's trying to beat a guy with his God-given ability every single play. And so when you're looking at edge guys, for me, I'd love a guy that's able to do both of those things. I need guys to be long and athletic. No, and I don't want to take away, someone that's maybe not as tall, but I as a coach and a trainer, I want to work with someone that has great length and great athleticism. And so typically guys that possess those traits that can kind of be built to a point and then have that natural innate instinct to go hunt quarterbacks, where you find them?
Where you find them?
Any given Saturday at an AAU basketball tournament.
Really? Yeah.
Well, shit, man. Think about this.
Julius Pepper.
You got a guy that. Listen. Talk to Trayvon Walker. Talk to Montez Sweat. Those dudes are hoopers by heart. You walk in the gym on a Saturday afternoon at an AAU tournament, and you got a guy playing the post at 6'5".
Get him on the football field because
this dude is running the floor.
Yes.
They're throwing him lobs, right? Yep. He's blocking shots. At 6'4", he has no chance of playing the 4 or 5 in college. But my God, man, he's gonna play 2 positions organically on the football field, either tight end or defensive.
Right.
Either tight end or defensive end. And I've done the experiment. I've went and pulled the guy out the gym. Hey, man, you got any scholarship offers? No? Where's your mom and dad?
Because I can get you some. Come with me.
Where are they? And look, I just need 1 year. Give me a year. I'm just going to ask a question. I don't want to be too intrusive, but do you have $500,000 saved for your son's college education?
Right.
You don't?
Right.
Do you want him to go to college? You do? You're going to have to trade this beautiful climate-controlled building for some turf. Give me a 6'4", 220 guy. Give me 1 year. Look him up. I'm telling you what his name is right now. His name is Jackson Lee. Jackson Lee has 15 offers. The 2024 guy. He was a hooper. He's 6'3", like 220. Jumps out the gym. Committed to Texas Tech. He's playing the 4 and the 5. Bro, you can't make it up. So I'm looking for basketball players.
Nice.
That's where.
So wrestling in the middle and hooping on the edge.
Hey man, let's dance, baby. Let's dance. Let's dance. When you get a chance, man, the next time you talk to a defensive end, ask them if they hoop.
I'm going to.
They're all gonna say yes.
Yeah.
They're all gonna say yes, man. They're all gonna. Every single end that I have in my program hoops. They hoop. All of them. I mean, it's just You want a tight end? He's on the basketball court.
Exactly. That's 100%. Tight ends are all on the basketball court. Are all on the basketball court.
They're on the basketball court.
Yep.
And so are your ends. I mean, how many times have you seen that dude in the box in high school at 6'3", 240?
And you're like, you should be playing football. That's the first thing you'd be looking at, like, does he play football?
I mean, who you play for, bro? You play football?
Exactly.
Nah, I'm a hooper.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
You might thought you
got it messed up.
Yeah.
You're doing what you want to do instead of what you need to do.
You need to go ahead and switch up, dog. Put them pads on
right quick. Man. So, athleticism, man. I need absolute supreme athleticism, man. And those are basketball players on the football field. Let's go get them, man. That's what I look for ends. I need height. I need length. I need bend. I need mobility. I need loose hips. I need loose ankles. I need long arms. And I would much rather prefer to get a basketball player that doesn't have a bunch of bad habits.
Right. And especially when you're talking about that bend, the agility, the natural looseness in the hips and just the body, that's you're saying it right, because it translates, especially if you're hooping, because you're playing in the post, right? So you're automatically dealing with physical things. So it's not like that's not something that you're not going to deal with. And then the hand fighting with the basketball, it can translate right into football and be trained to be even. Oh yeah, makes perfect sense.
Hand-eye coordination.
Mm-hmm.
So you've seen basketball again. You've seen how hard the point guard's gonna throw the ball down into the post.
Mm-hmm.
So now that's where they're catching the ball as a tight end. But now we win pass rush with our eyes too. You got to have disciplined eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You got to look at that lineman from the ground up. And if you got great eye discipline, you can see if a guy's carrying low hands. Keep those low hands low. You can attack him like that. Those are skill set traits that they already possess just because of the sport they play. Like you said, it transfers over.
Mm-hmm.
It transfers over, man. Yeah. So defensive ends are easy. Man, just for the record, outside pass rushers, outside run defense is way easier than interior pass rush and interior run defense. It's way easier because typically you're going to have a guy on one shoulder on the edge versus having a guy on two shoulders on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna get double teamed more. You're gonna get pulled on. You're gonna get all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Versus how you have so much more room to work on the edge, and then you're gonna be held to a different level and standard of accountability. But let the team be running the ball up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, everybody's gonna scream bloody murder. They're running the ball outside. And the end is turning it in, and they're still he's setting the edge, and they're still running underneath him. They're not going to look at him like he's not doing his job. They're going to look at the linebacker. So
right,
it's easier to get an end going than it is an inside guy. You got to be crazy playing.
The inside guys take longer to develop, right?
Well, yeah, because you got more responsibility.
So, do you think most big men that come in the league, because I always say that it needs like 1 to 2 years for them to get adjusted to it, unless they're that phenomenal guy like a Vita Vea, just a guy who's just totally different. You feel me?
Shit.
I feel like most of those guys that come in the middle, especially the big guys, the one techs, not necessarily like a three, like a Jalen Carter who's coming in. You already see the ability. I'm talking about more of those one techs, those guys that are really holding down the middle. Don't you feel like they develop a little bit, takes a little bit longer for them to develop more than everybody else down the line?
It does, but the anomaly there is where they play their college football.
Got you.
So if you play, and we're getting ready to have a instead of Power 5, we have a Power 4.
Right.
But if you play SEC football, ACC football, Big Ten football, then 9 times out of 10, those guys are ready to play. SEC football,
especially
is
SEC.
about it. You got big, fast, strong human beings, and they've got rivalries where they'll kill each other in the street. Okay. Big Ten, ACC football is right behind that, and Big Ten football is still a big downhill physical league.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why you see so many interior guys coming from
the Big Ten.
Those three conferences. Yeah. Okay. If you look at the Pac-12 and the Big 12, they absolutely totally disrespect Big 12 interior line, because the game is inside zone, outside zone. It's lateral, and then it's a lot of pass. And so Big 12 is disrespected the most as far as interior linemen. And I can give you example after example after example of guys that were considered to be the best in the conference and didn't even get drafted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm going to bring one name up because he's special to me. Is Poona Ford.
Yeah. From Texas, right?
From Texas. So you're talking about a guy that's 5'10", 300 pounds. He was the Big 12 defensive lineman of the year, and he went undrafted, and then he ended up starting like 10 games as a rookie for Seattle. Okay. So that's the first one. Then you look at a guy like Charles Omenihu from Texas, who was also the Big 12 defensive lineman of the year, who played his butt off for the Houston Texans. All right. Then he went to San Francisco and played his butt off. And now he's in Kansas. And so when he comes back from his suspension, he went in the fourth round, right? James Lynch from the University of Baylor. That's with the Vikings. Still, he went to a loaded room, but you're still talking about 4th, 5th round. Those are three interior guys. Bravion Roy, that was at Baylor, that got drafted. He was a free agent. No, 5th or 6th round guy to Carolina with Matt Rule. Okay. Interior guys from the Big 12 don't get respect.
Yeah, they don't get no love.
So,
I noticed
none.
that. Yeah,
none.
It's very they
none.
Basically it's like because it's so much of a passing league in their opinion.
Correct.
They're like, we're not respecting you guys as run defenders or in the run game or anything because they don't run.
That's right. And so depending on where you go to school, and some of that mistreatment is warranted because they're just not used to seeing it. So the curve is bigger. But you play SEC football, it's fiscal, man. They're coming down here, baby.
Mm-hmm.
It's fiscal.
Mm-hmm.
So they're ready. You play ACC football. Look at what's his name from Clemson? The big kid. He was a killer in high school. He got drafted in the 1st round this year.
Brian something.
Brian
I know who you're talking about. I know
you know what I'm talking about?
Because he was the number 1 recruit coming out, and he went over to Clemson because he had a knee injury, right? Yeah.
I want to see what he does.
Yeah. Somebody throw his name in there because I know you know him, because I do too, because he was ballyhooed coming out of high school. Like, he was the man. And he didn't have
what?
He was
Brian Brissy.
Yeah, Brian Brissy is something like that.
Brissy, there you go. Yeah. Hey, man. I want to see what he's going to do.
Too. I do too. Because
I want to see what he's going to do.
Everybody was talking about he was going to be the next guy.
I hope he is.
Me too. Because he got the talent. Because with that size, should nobody be able to move like that with his size? And he had knee injury.
Come on, man.
Yeah, he's different.
That dude.
He's different. He's different.
So where you go to school matters as far as your readiness to play.
Right.
Where you go to school matters as far as your readiness to play. So to answer that question, it's inside guys take a little bit longer to develop. They do. Ends don't have the same sense of urgency in play. Like the play goes away, man. You know, you're skating, surfing, you're squeezing, but you're not expected to make the play. The play goes away from you as an interior guy. You have got to get on your horse because you can't allow cutback. I mean, it's just different. It's different, man. And so, yeah, I give inside guys 2-3 years all the time. 2-3 years, man. Give them 2-3. They got to get used to it. A lot of people don't like that. It's unpopular, but you know, I try to be as realistic as I possibly can. And I think Mazi's in a great situation. He doesn't have to play. He doesn't have to. They got 3 dudes that can play and they will be just fine. You got Osa, you got Neville, you got Golston. Those 3 guys can play, and he can get in that rotation with them, and there's no pressure on him. No. So excited to see what he does.
Excited to see what he does. I feel you too. Well, I'm about to go get me some food.
You gonna eat? It's too late to eat over here.
I gotta get.
I
gotta get me some food, dog.
Hey,
but hey,
hit me up.
Hey,
I'm gonna figure out. Let's get on.
We gonna do this after you talk to Mazi. We gonna do this again.
Yeah. We'll and then let's talk so you can walk me how to set this darn phone up,
I'm
man.
have to. Yeah, because you.
Yeah.
Because everybody else can.
I'm gonna have my intern.
Yeah, get some intel with you because I know your sons will help you. Get to go.
No, they're in school.
No,
I
it
gotta
don't
have
matter.
My
No, you need to call them and be like, son.
No.
I'm trying to. Oh, they don't. Come on, they play dad like that.
No, I'm gonna have my intern who's here.
Okay.
Hey, Sam, they fix this for me.
That's
man.
all. And now they know because they raising this stuff.
And he just shakes his head at me.
No, of course.
He's like,
he's
like, what?
How you don't know how to do this? You just do this. Bam. And you be looking at him like, man, shut up.
I'm like, hey, man, I'm so, like, my ego is calm.
I'm old school. Even when I'm doing this stuff, everybody know I keep it basic. Everybody be having the bells and whistles. The cedar openings be like, damn, that's nice. Mine be like, 30 seconds, dog. We going live.
Let's get to it.
I'm old school. I don't give a hell. That's what you're coming over here. You come over here, you're getting old school stuff, and that's what it is, damn it.
Let's get to it, man. Are you gonna be here? You need to be here in January.
All right.
For the Shrine game.
Okay. And then you need to come back. The Big 12 is doing something unprecedented. They're having a conference-wide pro day. So normally each individual school will put on their own pro day. The Big 12 is partnered with the NFL. They're going to do a conference-wide pro day. So they're going to have that here in Frisco. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be phenomenal. You need to pull up for that too, I will. You just got to make sure you give me those exact dates because I want to see that live, and then I'm gonna so I can film. Are we allowed to film there? We allowed to record, or are they going to know?
Well, that's a great question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, find that out because I would love
I'm
to.
not sure,
but I get it.
But you've got media credentials though.
Yeah.
So they'll let you in. Yeah. But yeah, you got to be there for that, man. It's gonna be phenomenal, man. It's gonna be phenomenal. I owe you some barbecue too, man. Pull up.
Hell yeah, I'm definitely pulling up. We're gonna kick it, have a good time like we do, dog. Man, I appreciate you. I hope everybody else appreciates you. We kept like 80 in the damn thing. This is the type of knowledge Cowboys fans need. This is the type of knowledge I need. Damn it, you feel me? Because you're always learning this, and I love listening. So when you talk this stuff, I'll go back and replay it. Then I watch games. And then once I watch games, I listen to what you say about sets and things of that nature. And it'll get me even more familiar with, okay, this is what they're trying to do to him. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a chess game.
Right.
It's a chess game out there. And so when you learn it from the inside out, you know, it's more exciting when you're watching the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. The only problem is once you start looking at games like that, you stop watching the play.
You right. You be analyzing everything like you ain't even watching the game no more. I'm gonna keep it real. It's hard for me to watch games because I be looking at certain things in the game where I just don't focus on just having fun watching the game, because once I got into this media stuff, it took away that just watching the game. It took away that.
As a fan, it takes it completely
away. It takes it away because you're not looking at it as a fan anymore. You're looking at all the little tiny things.
Every aspect. I'm looking to see when the plays getting signaled in, you know, how they're lining up, what personnel group they're in, you know, depending on which one of my kids I'm watching or which one of my clients I'm watching, I'm looking to see what they're doing.
Yeah. Now, you know, we didn't teach you that. What are you doing out there? You know we ain't. That's what we don't teach. Who's over there? That? Who is over there? Because we got to talk.
Bro, what are you doing? Right? And then like I'll watch the play on the replay. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, what happened on it? Okay, now back to what you just did, donkey. Right? So yeah, you'll watch it different, man. But anything you need, man, I'm always glad to visit. And I apologize. I've been super.
I know you've been busy. That's why I didn't trip. You know me, I don't trip. You feel me? I already know. I already know how busy you are. I already know how hard you're going to paint from high school to college, NFL. Dog, it's 24/7. So that's why I was like, you know, that's why I just be.
It's a blessing.
That's why I just send a text like, "What's up, dog?"
Yeah. So you got me. Let me tell you something.
I can tell when I got you. When you said you liked the message, I said, "Okay, yeah, he coming."
Yeah. So listen, man, I got a 7:00 flight in the morning. Right.
Uh-huh.
And so because it's my downtime, I don't go to high school football games. I have too many clients to go. Right. So I go to any. And so I was supposed to train with Isaac Alacon today.
Damn.
And we couldn't get on the same schedule.
Right.
And so I'm home. And I'm home chilling. I'm getting ready to, you know, throw my bag together. Mm-hmm. And I won't go to sleep. Like I'll be up, you know, jump on the flight. So you got me, man. During the season, Fridays, either I'm going to be traveling, but you can call me, man. Like Thursday, Friday, the best days to get me in the season. Mm-hmm. Thursday, Friday. So if I'm going to see a client, let's say I go out to work with Trayvon, I'm coming back Thursday.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
The work week is Tuesday and Wednesday. Like I'm coming back Thursday.
Okay.
So you like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, the best days to get me, man. Because you know I love talking football.
Yeah, that's what I said. We did almost 3 hours, so I was ready.
Really?
Yeah, it's 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Are you gonna put that whole? You gonna chop it up?
I ain't chopping up nothing, dog.
Let's
go. Hell, dog. I said we old school over here. We don't do that over here. You play the whole damn thing.
Go.
You feel me? And we had a lot of people up in the chat that stayed up in here, and all they got to do is hit replay, dog. That's how you do it nowadays.
Hey man, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, dog. I appreciate you, man. I'm glad, man. How long has it been? What? When we meet? 18 or 19? 18?
At least.
I think it was 18.
At least.
2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was 2018.
Hey man, it's a blast. It's
been a blessing.
So fun, man.
It's great to see how it's all the players that you done. And then I'm like, B done coached him. I remember when he had him like 3 years ago. I remember him. I remember B had him. You done had some guys, crazy. Bro. Let me tell y'all, go watch this, man. Go support. Let them know where they can find you, dog, because they need to understand, dog, this man puts them out, bro. Like, he puts them out.
Yeah.
Let them know where they can find you, dog.
So, you know, I'm old school. I do have social media handles. Twitter is at TWF Training. And then Instagram is DLine_guru. And then Facebook, is my name, Brandon Tucker. So, I don't put out a bunch of content as far as what we're doing. You see a lot of still pictures though, but I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress. This is a show me culture that we're in right now. So I'm more cognizant about putting out just even if it's a little short clip with some music behind it, man, to just kind of let people see that we're working.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a blessing to be.
I love knowledge. Anytime I can get knowledge, that's always a good thing for me because, like I said, knowledge, you always need knowledge, and I'm always wanting more knowledge because when I watch the game, I like to be able to have all my ducks in a row when I watch that game. So, and especially when defense is my forte. I don't care about offense. I like defense. So to get them finer points from you and get the breakdowns, I love it. And I'm like I said, I'm going to watch some tape tomorrow and just be watching what you said, especially with certain positions and certain things, because it'll help me understand it more about what people are trying to do and what they're going. So I appreciate you, dog. Be safe when you go, man. Tomorrow, make sure you're safe out there. Wish nothing but blessings on you, your son.
Appreciate you
out there doing the damn thing. I hope you go out there and turn up. Your whole family. Just blessings on all y'all, dog. And I just appreciate you from the sun up to the sundown. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
See you soon.
I'll be talking to you.
All right.
Peace. My guy. Woo, I think this is one of the longest shows I've done in 100 years. You know what I'm saying? I think this is one of my, I think this is one of my longest shows I've done in 100 years. Besides a regular game, that's probably the longest I've done. But I enjoyed that. That was a great friend of mine. I love kicking it with B. He's a great friend of mine. Like I said, we met each other 2018, and the friendship has just grown. He's a great guy, great kids. Man, what he does for the young men out there, he doesn't just teach them football. He teaches them life principles, life skills. And I really love what he's doing in the community and for these young men out there, giving them a chance. And I can't wait till we have our next conversation, especially after he meets Mazi, talks to Mazi. Hopefully he can train with Mazi, but hopefully he can get in his head and get some little feedback from that. And then we can bring him feedback on and then, get some more little inside intel of what's going on with the players. So I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everybody that stayed in the chat. Great knowledge today. Almost 3 hours and y'all stayed deep in it. I appreciate the super chats. Appreciate everybody. 808, Trey, Dwight, so many people. I can't go so many people, but I appreciate y'all, man, staying in here. And let's get it. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow. You know what it is. The Best of Enemies goes down tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. I'm about to get at them Eagles. Get at that boy Joe Castro, my dog. But you already know we got to always outnumber them Eagles, man, all the time. So we always got to outnumber them in the chat. We always got to be booming more than them. We always got to be here, and they always have to be here. So make sure y'all deep in the chat tomorrow, 11 a.m. Best of Enemies is going down. We're going to be getting our kind of preseason game ready. Can't wait for that. So, love you guys. I'll talk to y'all soon. I'm out. Have a good night. Y'all be safe. Peace.